Article 1. The Secrets of the Megalithic Civilization. Source: ChatGPT. Secrets of megalithic civilizations usually refers to the study of ancient megalithic buildings and civilizations, especially those sites and cultures that were built using megaliths. This type of research involves archaeology, history, and the exploration of ancient technologies and cultures. Here are some of the key points about the megalithic civilization and related research areas. 1. Overview of the megalithic civilization. Definition: megalithic civilizations generally refer to those ancient cultures or civilizations that used huge blocks or rocks to build structures. The most well-known examples include large stone carvings, stone columns, stone henges, etc., found in ancient buildings and ruins. Representative sites. Stonehenge, located in Wiltshire, United Kingdom. Stonehenge is a famous megalithic site made up of huge stone blocks, whose purpose and construction methods are still the focus of archaeological and historical research to this day. Moai statues, located on Easter Island. They are huge stone statues carved by ancient Polynesians, which embody the unique art and religious beliefs of the Easter Island civilization. Nazca lines, located in Peru. These are large ground figures created by the Nazca civilization and may have religious or astronomical significance. Machu Picchu, although not entirely made of megaliths, the architectural style and use of stone in this ancient Inca city exemplifies the building techniques of the ancient Inca civilization. 2. Field of study. Archaeology. Archaeologists who study megalithic sites analyze the origin of the stones, the techniques used to construct them, and the social and religious functions of these sites. Ancient technology, exploring how ancient civilizations carried and processed these massive stones, involving the study of ancient engineering and building techniques. Culture and religion, examine the cultural and religious significance behind these sites and explore their role and influence in ancient societies. Astronomy, for example, Stonehenge is thought to be related to ancient astronomy, and its stone arrangement may be related to astronomical phenomena such as specific moments of sunrise and sunset. 3. The mysteries and controversies of the megalithic civilization. Construction methods. The construction methods of many megalithic sites are still difficult to study, and there are still different theories about how ancient civilizations moved, carved, and arranged these megaliths. Uses and significance. The specific uses and cultural significance of these sites are often the focus of scholarly discussions. Different theories attempt to explain the religious, astronomical, or social functions of these sites. Extraterrestrial civilization theory. Some theories even suggest that extraterrestrial civilizations may have been involved in the construction of these megalithic sites, but these ideas are often dismissed as non-scientific hypotheses by mainstream academia. 4. Modern research. Technology. Modern technology, such as laser scanning and geological exploration technology, has helped archaeologists better understand and study these megalithic sites. Multidisciplinary research. Interdisciplinary collaborations, including archaeology, geology, history, and astronomy, provide additional perspectives and evidence for understanding megalithic civilizations. 5. Related books and research. Books such as Stonehenge, The Secret of the Stones explore the history and archaeological research of Stonehenge in detail. Books such as Easter Island, The Riddle of the Stone Giants discuss Easter Island's monumental stone statues and cultural background. Ancient Engineering, The Secret of Ancient Civilizations Building Wonders explores ancient building techniques. These megalithic sites and civilizations not only demonstrate the architectural capabilities of ancient humans, but also reveal their complex cultural and religious concepts. The study of these sites helps us better understand the technological and social structures of ancient civilizations. Article 2. Pyramid. Source: ChatGPT. Pyramids mainly refer to magnificent structures built by ancient Egypt and other ancient civilizations, known for their unique shape and historical significance. Here is the basic information about the pyramids. 1. Pyramids of ancient Egypt. Location: mainly distributed in the Giza Plateau and other areas of Egypt. Features: the pyramids were the tombs of ancient Egypt pharaohs and were often used as religious and funeral sites. The most famous are the Great Pyramid of Giza, Pyramid of Khufu, the Pyramid of Khafra, and the Pyramid of Menkaure. Building techniques. The ancient Egypt used materials such as limestone and granite to build pyramids, and the techniques involved complex engineering and architectural knowledge. While the exact method of construction is still debated, it is generally accepted that they used techniques such as ramps, pulleys, and levers. 2 Mayan pyramids. Location: Central America, including present-day Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, etc. Features: the pyramids of the Mayan civilization are mostly stepped in shape, which are commonly used for religious and astronomical purposes. For example, the Pyramid of Kukulkan in Chichen Itza and the Temple of Palenque. Construction techniques: Mayan pyramids are often made of stone blocks and reflect the Mayan astronomical knowledge and religious beliefs. 3 other pyramids. Andean pyramids, such as the site of the pyramids of the Inca civilization. Chinese pyramids, includes some ancient burial sites, such as the pyramid-type tomb near the terracotta warriors and horses pit of Qin Shi Huang in Shaanxi province. Source: Wikipedia. Pyramids, architecturally referred to pyramidal buildings, include the pyramids of Egypt, the pyramids of Maya Castillo, the pyramids of the Aztecs, pyramids of the sun, pyramids of the moon, etc. Generally speaking, the base is a regular polygon such as a regular triangle or a square, or it may be other polygons, and the sides are made up of multiple triangles or faces close to a triangle together, and the top area is very small, or even spire-shaped. The center of mass is close to the base, which can effectively resist natural disasters. Many different civilizations around the world have built pyramids. For thousands of years, the pyramids were the largest structures in the world. The earliest pyramids are the Red Pyramid at Dahshur, followed by the Pyramid of Khufu at Giza. Both pyramids are in Egypt. The Pyramid of Khufu is the only remaining of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. The Pyramid of Khufu was built mainly of limestone, some rooms were built of red marble. The Pyramid of Khufu is a classic of architecture. There are 13 million stones in the Pyramid of Khufu, ranging in size from 2.5 to 5 tons, with a base side of 230 meters and an area of 13 acres. Its 4 sides are precisely aligned with the 4 directions of east, west, north, and south, and the angle of the 4 sides is 52 degrees. The original height of the pyramid was 146.5 meters, but now it is only 137 meters, 9 meters less because the high-grade white limestone on the pyramid was stolen during the construction of Cairo. The Pyramid of Khufu is still the tallest pyramid in the world. In terms of volume, the largest pyramid is the Great Pyramid of Korula. Since the 1970s, due to the evolution of building technology, it has achieved lightweight, plastic, good air conditioning and lighting. Some architects would choose elements from geometry, so modern pyramidal buildings were built all over the world. Article 3. Machu Picchu. Source: ChatGPT. Machu Picchu is an important site of the Inca civilization, located in the Peru Andes Mountains at an altitude of about 2,430 meters, 7,970 feet. This ancient city site is considered an outstanding representative of the Inca civilization and a world-famous archaeological and tourist attraction. Here are the details about Machu Picchu. 1. Historical background. Construction time. Machu Picchu is generally believed to have been built in the mid-15th century, around 1450 AD, by order of the Inca Emperor Pachacuti. Uses. The exact purpose of Machu Picchu is still not entirely clear. Scholars believe it may have been a holiday destination, a religious center, or a strategic location for the Inca royal family. 2. Architecture and structure. Architectural style. The architectural style of Machu Picchu exemplifies the high masonry skills of the Inca civilization. The building mainly uses huge uncarved stone blocks, using a dry masonry technique, no mortar. Main area. Royal quarters. includes buildings such as royal palaces, temples, and is often considered to be the residence and ceremonial area of royalty and high priesthood. Agricultural area includes a system of terraces and canals for agricultural production. Urban areas, including residences, markets, etc., reflecting the daily life of ancient cities. 3. Building technology. Masonry. The Incas built their buildings by cutting and placing stones with precision without the use of mortar, a technique that made buildings more resilient in earthquakes. Water system. Machu Picchu has a complex water system, including pipes and wells, that provide water for the entire site. 4. Discovery and protection. Discovery. Machu Picchu was rediscovered in 1911 by United States historian Hiram Bingham, and while the site was already known to local residents, Bingham's expedition brought widespread international attention. Conservation. Due to the cultural and historical value of Machu Picchu, the site is listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site and is strictly protected and managed. 5. Tourism and cultural influence. Tourist destinations. Machu Picchu is a world-famous tourist destination that attracts a large number of tourists every year. Tourism activities are subject to strict environmental and cultural protection regulations. Cultural influence. Machu Picchu is regarded as a symbol of Inca civilization and has had an important influence on the study and promotion of Inca culture. 6. Modern studies. Archaeological research. Modern archaeologists and historians continue to conduct in-depth research on Machu Picchu, exploring its building techniques, social structure, and historical context. Climate change. Researchers are also concerned about the impact of climate change in Machu Picchu on site conservation and propose related conservation and restoration options. Source: Wikipedia. Machu Picchu, Spain. Machu Picchu, Xichua, Machu Picchu, also translated as Machu Picchu, is a pre-Columbian, 15th, Inca city located in the eastern Peru mountains of southern Peru, 80 kilometers northwest of Cusco, towering over a 2,430 meter, 7,970 foot, ridge overlooking the Urubamba River Valley. In contrast to the Mayan civilization, since the Inca civilization had no record of a written language, there was no record of the discovery of the site until the end of the 19th century. Archaeologists believe that Machu Picchu was built by Sapa Inca Pachacuti, 1438–1472, and due to its unique location, address characteristics, and late discovery, in 1911, Machu Picchu became the most familiar symbol of the Inca Empire. It is often referred to as the lost city of the Incas. Machu Picchu is built in the classical Inca style with polished masonry walls as columns. The 3 well-preserved facilities in the town are the Intihuatana, the Temple of the Sun and the Temple of the 3 Windows. In order to give visitors a better idea of what the city was originally like, most of the buildings have been restored. By 1976, about 30% of Machu Picchu had been restored, and restoration works are still underway today. In 1983, the ancient temple of Machu Picchu was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site and is a cultural and natural heritage site. In 2007, Machu Picchu was named one of the new 7 wonders of the world. But at the same time, Machu Picchu also faces concerns about being disrupted by tourism. Article 4. Pumapunku. Source: ChatGPT. Pumapunku is an ancient archaeological site located in Bolivia and belongs to the group of ruins of the Tiwanaku culture. Known for its huge stone blocks and fine masonry techniques, Pumapunku is often considered one of the important sites of the ancient Andean civilization. Here are the details about Pumapunku. 1. Location and background. Location: Pu Ruipeng, ancient position at plateau, remains of Tiwanaku, Haisiang approximately 3,900 rice, 12,800 yuan. Cultural background: Pumapunku belonged to the Tiwanaku culture, an ancient Andean civilization that flourished between about 200 BC and 1000 AD. 2. Architecture and structure. Architectural style: Pumapunku is known for its huge stone blocks and intricate construction techniques. The site contains several stone structures including plazas, steps, walls, and altars. Main buildings. Gate of the Sun, a famous stone door frame carved with the sun god and other mystical symbols. It is considered a center of sacrifice and astronomy. Pumapunku platform, includes many huge stone blocks and precisely cut stones. Its complex masonry technology has attracted wide attention from the academic community. Altars and squares. The site also includes altars and squares used for religious ceremonies, reflecting the religious and social activities of ancient societies. 3. Building technology. Masonry technique. The stones of Pumapunku are cut with a very high degree of precision, and many of the stones have unconventional edges and angles. This masonry technique demonstrates the high skill of ancient civilizations. Handling and construction. Although the specific methods of handling and construction are still controversial, Pumapunku's construction techniques involve complex engineering and construction knowledge. 4. Research and archaeology. Discoveries and research. Archaeological research in Pumapunku reveals the architecture and social organization of ancient Andean civilizations. Archaeologists continue to explore its building techniques, social structures, and historical context. Modern preservation. Due to the historical and cultural value of Pumapunku, the site is protected and managed to prevent natural erosion and man-made destruction. 5. Culture and influence. Cultural influence. Pumapunku is an important symbol of ancient Andean civilization and is of great significance for the study of Andean culture, religion, and social structure. Tourism. As a famous archaeological site, Pumapunku attracts a large number of tourists and scholars, and has had an impact on the local economy and cultural exchanges. 6. Modern studies. Academic research. The study of Pumapunku involves a variety of disciplines such as archaeology, history, architecture, and anthropology. Scholars have studied the architectural techniques and social context of the site through different methods. Conservation and restoration. With the increase in tourism, the conservation and restoration efforts of Pumapunku have become even more important to ensure the long-term preservation of the site. Source: Wikipedia. Pumapunku, a ruin located a few miles southwest of the ruins of Tiahuanaco, on the border between present-day Peru and Bolivia, was founded around the beginning of the 6th century. At the ancient site of Pumapun, there are several huge stone slabs that have been finely processed, and most of them have been found to be sandstone, but some of them are made of andesite, which is durable, and is classified as the most difficult type of stone to work with a hardness rating of 5/6 on the Mohs scale. Diamond hardness is 10. Until the 1940s, Bolivia's army used the stone slabs of the Pumapunku region as a target for training soldiers. Due to man-made destruction or long-term exposure to the sun and rain, to this day, not a single intact stone slab can be found on the ancient site of Pumapong. And it is these remnants that are now known as the ancient ruins of Pumapong. Tiahuanaco holds great significance in the Inca tradition as it is believed to be the place where the world was born. In the Aymara language, Pumapengu means Puma's Gate. The ancient complex consists of an unwalled western courtyard, a central open-air plaza, a platform mound facing stones, and a walled eastern courtyard. In its heyday, Pumapengu was considered unimaginably magical and was decorated with polished metal plates and brightly colored ceramics and fabrics. As a result, costumed citizens, well-dressed priests, and elites wearing exotic jewels rushed to visit. Due to its age, lack of written records, and the deterioration of the present structure due to treasure hunting, looting, mining of building stones, railway ballast stones, and natural weathering, there is currently limited knowledge of the complex. Article 5. Peru, Dodecagonal Stone. Source: ChatGPT. The Stone of the 12 Angles is a special stone block in a famous archaeological site in the city of Cusco, Peru. It is widely known for its unique cuts and intricate angles, and is an important example of the construction techniques of the Inca civilization. Here are the details about the dodecagonal stone. 1. Location and background. Location: the Dodeca stone is located in an area called the 12-angled stone wall in the Inca ruins of Cusco, Peru. It is part of a historical site near the Inca Palace. Historical background: the dodecagonal stone is part of an architectural site left over from the Inca civilization, an advanced civilization in South America that existed between the 15th and 16th centuries AD. 2 Architectural features. Stone features: known for its intricate shapes, this stone has 12 corners, each of which has been precisely cut and carved. This design allows the stones to fit together tightly without the use of any mortar. Cutting technique: this cutting technique shows the great skill of the Inca architects. They used advanced masonry techniques to ensure precise cutting and stable joining of the stones. 3 Culture and function. Architectural use: the area where the dodecagonal stone is located is believed to be part of the Inca Palace, and while the exact purpose is still not entirely clear, it demonstrates the high achievements of the Inca civilization in architecture and engineering. Religious and social significance: this architectural style may reflect the religious and cultural ideas of Inca society, and the fine cutting and close integration of the stones may have some symbolic meaning. For modern research and conservation. Archaeological research: archaeologists conduct research on the dodecagonal stone and related structures to understand the building techniques and social structure of the Inca civilization. Research has revealed how the Incas performed fine masonry without modern tools. Conservation and management: due to its cultural and historical value, the dodecagonal stone and the site on which it is located are protected and managed to ensure its long-term preservation and protection from natural and man-made destruction. 5 Tourism and cultural influence. Tourist attractions: the dodecagonal stone is one of the main tourist attractions in Cusco and attracts a large number of tourists every year to visit and take pictures. Cultural symbol: it not only showcases the architectural achievements of the Inca civilization, but also becomes an important symbol of the Inca cultural heritage, reflecting the exquisite skills and cultural values of the ancient Inca civilization. 6 Modern concerns. Architectural technology research: the study of dodecagonal stone continues to provide new insights into archaeology and architecture, helping us understand the engineering techniques and architectural design of ancient civilizations. Cultural preservation: the preservation of the dodecagonal stone and its site is of great importance for the preservation of the Inca cultural heritage, as well as for the further study and understanding of the Inca civilization. Article 6. The Megalithic Civilization Hypothesis. Source: ChatGPT. The megalithic civilization hypothesis, especially the theory that ancient megaliths were fossilized by the flesh of giants to form rocks, belongs to a non-mainstream and marginal explanation. This hypothesis is not accepted by the scientific community, but is commonly found in some popular culture and pseudoscience. The following is a detailed discussion of this hypothesis. 1. Theoretical overview. Hypothesis: this hypothesis asserts that ancient megalithic structures, such as Stonehenge, Moai on Easter Island, etc., were in fact the remains of giants that had been transformed into the rocks we see today through some form of fossilization. This theory attempts to explain the origin and enormous scale of these megalithic structures in terms of the presence and fossilization of giants. 2. Scientific perspectives. Geological explanation: from a geological point of view, the formation of rocks involves physical and chemical processes in the Earth's interior, such as volcanic activity, sedimentation, and weathering. These processes are quite different from the fossilization of living organisms. There is no scientific basis for the formation of rocks and the flesh of giants. Archaeological explanation: archaeologists study the sites, tools, and construction techniques of these megalithic structures to conclude that these structures were built by craftsmen of ancient civilizations with known techniques. Archaeological evidence and technical analysis suggest that the construction of megalithic structures involved complex engineering and labor, but there is no evidence to support that these stone blocks were fossilized from living organisms. 3. Culture and mythology. Myths and legends: in some cultures and myths, giants or colossal creatures often appear and are associated with megalithic construction. These myths may reflect human interpretations of natural and architectural wonders, but they do not correspond to the reality of scientific research. Popular culture. This hypothesis often appears in non-scientific pop culture works and pseudo-scientific discussions to explain the mystique of ancient sites. However, it lacks scientific basis and is often considered a cultural legend or fiction. For scientific research. Geology and archaeological research. Through the study of geology and archaeology, scientists have fully understood the formation process and technology of ancient megalithic buildings. These studies suggest that megalithic architecture was built by ancient civilizations using primitive techniques and tools, rather than by the fossilization of living organisms. Modern technology. The use of modern techniques, such as laser scanning, geological exploration, and remote sensing techniques, further confirms the construction methods and material sources of these sites, and provides detailed information about ancient engineering techniques. 5. Conclusion. The megalithic civilization hypothesis, which states that the monoliths are the flesh of giants turned into fossils to form rocks, does not conform to the explanation of modern science. The scientific community, through the study of archaeology, geology, and history, has come up with more accurate and reliable explanations. This hypothesis belongs more to myths and legends or non-scientific fields than to theories based on actual scientific evidence. Article 7. Pangu opens the sky. Source: ChatGPT. Pangu Kaishan is an important story in ancient Chinese myths and legends, telling the origin of the universe and heaven and earth. This legend is recorded in ancient books such as the Classic of Mountains and Seas, the Taiyuan Taoist Classic, and the Legend of the Immortals, and occupies an important position in Taoism and traditional Chinese culture. The following is a detailed introduction to Pangu Kaishan. 1. Legendary content. Chaos beginning. Legend has it that at the beginning of the universe, heaven and earth were not divided, and the whole world was like a huge and chaotic egg, with all matter mixed together. The birth of Pangu. Pangu is the first deity in this chaotic universe. He was born in chaos, and as he grows, his body gradually grows, eventually separating the chaotic heaven and earth. Heaven and earth separated, Pangu split the chaos with a giant axe, separating heaven and earth. The heavens gradually rose, the earth gradually flattened, and Pangu stood between the heavens and the earth, supporting the heavens and the earth with his body and no longer closing. Pangu's death and incarnation. After Pangu's death, his body turned into various elements of heaven and earth. Hair turned into stars, breath into wind and clouds, sound into thunder and lightning, body into mountains and rivers, blood into rivers and lakes, bones into ore, sweat into rain and dew. This process gives form and function to everything in heaven and earth. 2. Cultural context and significance. Taoist thought. The legend of Pangu opening the heavens occupies an important place in Taoist thought, reflecting the Taoist understanding of the origin of heaven and earth and the creation of the universe. Pangaea, as the first deity, symbolizes the creativity and primordial power of the universe. Cosmology. This legend shows the ancient Chinese's understanding and imagination of the origin of the universe. Through the story of Pangu opening the heavens, the ancients explained how heaven and earth were separated from chaos and gave mythological overtones to natural phenomena. Cultural influence. The story of Pangu Kaishan is not only recorded in ancient Chinese literature, but also has a profound impact on traditional Chinese art, literature, and folklore. For example, the image and story of Pangu Kaishan can be seen in many ancient documents, murals, and carvings. 3. Relevant literature and records. The Classic of Mountains and Seas. This ancient geographical book mentions the myth of Pangu opening the heavens, but the record is relatively brief. The Taiyuan Taoist Sutra. It describes in detail the process of Pangu's opening of the heavens and its impact on the universe and the natural world. The Legend of the Immortals. This ancient document also contains the legend of Pangu opening the heavens, discussing the divinity of Pangu and his role in the universe. 4. Modern research. Literature and art. Modern scholars have conducted a literary and artistic analysis of the legend of Pangu Kaishan, exploring its symbolism and influence in Chinese culture. Comparative mythology. Researchers also compare the legend of Pangaea with the myth of the origin of the universe in other cultures, analyze their similarities and differences, and explore the understanding of the origin of the universe in different cultures. 5. Conclusion. The legend of Pangu is an important part of ancient Chinese mythology, showing the imagination and understanding of the origin of heaven and earth in ancient Chinese. The story occupies an important place in Taoist culture and has had a profound impact on traditional Chinese culture, art, and literature. Source: Wikipedia. Legend of the Three Kingdoms. Heaven and earth are chaotic. Pangu was born in it. 9 changes in one day. God is in the sky, holy in the earth, and the Lord is in the heaven and earth. The sky is 1 zhang high, the earth is 1 zhang thick, and Pangu is also 1 zhang long, so that it is 8,000 years, and then the heaven and earth are opened. Pangu dragon's body. Open the eyes into the day, close the eyes into the night, breathe for the heat, inhale for the cold, blow into the wind and clouds, and the sound for the thunder. Pangu death. The eyes are the sun and the moon, the mustaches the stars, the eyebrows are the buckets, the 9 bamboo are the Kyushu, the milk is Kunlun, the knees are the southern ridges, the shares are the Taishan, the yuri is the fish, the hands are the birds, the claws are the turtles, the bones are gold and silver, the hair is the grass and trees, the hairs are the ducks, and the teeth are the jade. Kan is rain, the big intestine is the river and the sea, the small intestine is Huizi, the bladder is 100 rivers, and the face wheel is Dongting. It is also said, Pangu will turn into 70 in one day, covering the heavens and the earth, and 80,000 years old will die. Article 8. Ymir. Source: ChatGPT. Ymir is a primordial giant in Norse mythology and a key figure in the creation story of Norse mythology. Here are the details about Ymir. 1. Mythological background. Creation legend. In the creation legend of Norse mythology, Ymir is one of the first giants and the original existence of the world. According to the Poetic Edda and Prose Edda, the birth of Ymir marked the beginning of the universe. Chaos origins. Ymir exists in the icy primordial chaos, which is filled with the power of frost and chaos. In this chaos, Ymir was born from the frost and became the first giant. 2. Ymir's body and the formation of the world. Giant's body. Ymir's body constitutes the basic element of the world. After he was killed, the main gods of Norse mythology, Odin and his brothers, Vili and Ve, used his body to create the world. Skins, used to create the earth. Blood, used to create oceans and lakes. Bones, used to create mountains. Skull, used to create the sky dome. Cerebral marrow, used to create clouds. Blood, used to create the ocean. Internal organs, used to create dirt. 3. Descendants of Ymir. Race of giants. The descendants of Ymir went on to become a race of giants in Norse mythology, and there were many conflicts between them and gods such as the Aesirs. The descendants of Ymir are beings who represent the forces of chaos and destruction, often in opposition to the gods of order and creation. 4. The cultural significance of the myth. Creation symbol. The story of Ymir illustrates the idea of creation in Norse mythology, reflecting the transformation of the universe from chaos to order. Cultural rivalry. Ymir as a giant symbolizes chaos and primordial power, and the opposition and conflict with the gods of order and civilization reflect the concept of opposition in mythology. 5. Sources. Poetic Edda. This collection of ancient Norse poetry contains many poems about Ymir and the creation myth. Prose Edda, written by Snorri Sturluson. This document details the story of Ymir and the creation of Norse mythology. 6. Modern interpretation. Mythological studies. Modern scholars have conducted in-depth research on the mythology of Ymir, exploring its role and significance in the Norse mythological system. The story of Ymir is seen as an important part of understanding the Norse mythological view of creation and the order of the universe. Cultural influence. Ymir's images and stories are still influential in modern culture, including Norse mythology that often appears in literature, films, and games. The story of Ymir is a key creation legend in Norse mythology, showing how the universe was born out of chaos and how the gods transformed primordial forces into an orderly world. Article 9. Atlas. Source: ChatGPT. Atlas was an important deity in Greece mythology, known for his image of the heavenly vault on his shoulders. He was a member of the Titans and was closely associated with the stories and symbolism of many Greece myths. Here are the details about Atlas. 1. Background and origins. Family background: Atlas is a member of the Titans, ancient gods who ruled the heavens and the earth in Greece until they were overthrown by the Olympians. Atlas was the son of the Titan gods Iapetus and Clymene. Mythological stories: Atlas has several characters and stories in Greece mythology, most notably his image as Optimus Prime. This image is mainly derived from the story of him being punished after the battle. 2. The story of Optimus Prime. War and punishment: in the Titan Wars, Atlas sided with the Titans against the Olympians. Eventually, the Olympians triumphed, and as punishment, Atlas ordered him to shoulder the heavenly dome so that he would bear the weight of the heavens forever. Atlas is believed to be a huge pillar supporting the celestial vault, an image that is very famous in Greece mythology. Image and symbolism: the image of Atlas shouldering the sky symbolizes tenacity and indomitable strength. His shoulders are often depicted as giant pillars that hold the whole world or the sky. In artistic and literary works, Atlas is often presented as a symbol of great strength and burden. 3. Atlas in modern culture. Literature and art: the image of Atlas appears frequently in ancient Greece art and literature, including sculpture, painting, and poetry. Famous sculptures such as the statue of Atlas show him as he shoulders the sky. Modern usage: in modern culture, the image of Atlas is widely used, such as the Atlas, which takes its name from the image he is believed to support the world. In addition, Atlas has appeared in many literary works, films, and games. Science and symbolism: Atlas is also used in the field of science and technology, with names such as Atlas Rocket or Atlas Experiment symbolizing powerful and enduring power. 4. Related myths. Hercules. In Greece, Hercules once met Atlas while completing one of his 12 missions. Hercules needed the golden apple, and Atlas promised to help him get it, but asked Hercules to take on the vault for him for the time being. Hercules agreed, and quickly returned the vault to Atlas after obtaining the golden apple. Other characters: Atlas has other related stories and characters, such as that he is considered one of the giants of many Greece mythology and is associated with important events in many mythological stories. 5. Conclusion. Atlas is an important deity in Greece mythology, known for his image of the heavenly dome on his shoulders. His story not only demonstrates ancient Greece's understanding of gods and the structure of the universe, but also exemplifies the symbolism of resilience and responsibility. In modern culture, the image of Atlas still has a wide range of influence, embodied in literature, art, science, and everyday life. Source: Wikipedia. In the War of the Titans, including Atlas, were hostile to the Olympus, and the war ended in the defeat of the Titans, and Atlas was also punished by Zeus, forever holding up the sky in the westernmost part of the world. When Hercules, the Iron Warrior, was ordered to steal the golden apple from the sanctuary guarded by Hesperides, Prometheus suggested that he ask Atlas for help, so Hercules asked Atlas for help and promised to take Optimus's place during the time Atlas left. After winning the golden apple, Atlas was reluctant to take the sky from Hercules' shoulder, so Hercules pretended to agree, but asked Atlas to carry it for him for a while he went to find a pair of shoulder pads. When Atlas lifted the sky to his shoulders, Hercules picked up the golden apple and fled, leaving Atlas to continue his responsibilities. Later, when Atlas directed Perseus to find the treasure, he asked him to bring him Medusa's head, and upon seeing the head of the basilic Medusa, he turned to stone and was freed from the pain of superness. Mount Atlas in North Africa is said to have been the monolith he was made of. In some versions of the legend, when Hercules, also known as Hercules, went to the sacred garden to steal the golden apple, Atlas had turned into a mountain of stone blocking his way. In order to enter the sacred garden, he split the stone mountain in two, making him the pillar of Hercules today. Article 10. The 12 Titans. Source: ChatGPT. In Greece mythology, the Titans were ancient gods who ruled the heavens and the earth before the rise of the Olympian gods. There are 12 main members of the Titans, and here is a detailed introduction to these 12 Titans. 1. Iapetus. Role: Iapetus is one of the leaders of the Titans and the father of many important gods, including Atlas, Prometheus, and Epimetheus. Symbolism: Iapetus is believed to symbolize the fate and longevity of humanity. 2. Clymene. Role: Clymene is the wife of Iapetus and one of the Titans. She is the mother goddess of Greek mythology, primarily associated with family and motherhood. Symbol: she is the mother of Atlas, Prometheus, and Epimetheus. 3. Tethys. Role: Gobi is another important Titan god who is the wife of the sea god Tethys, symbolizing the bounty of the earth. Symbolism: she is associated with the sea and also symbolizes motherhood and fertility. 4. Eos. Role: Eos is the goddess of dawn and is responsible for the arrival of the morning. She is a member of the Titans. Symbol: symbolizes the glow of dawn and early morning. 5. Kohus. Characters: Sarath is a member of the Titan Protoss who symbolizes wisdom and prophecy. Symbolism: he is associated with wisdom and knowledge. 6. Crius. Role: Gibes is the Titan god of astronomy and stars, associated with constellations and the order of the universe. Symbolism: he represents the order of the universe and the stars. 7. Rhea. Role: Rhea is one of the Titan goddesses, the wife of Cronus, representing motherhood and family. She was the mother of numerous Olympian gods, including Zeus, Hera, and Poseidon. Symbolism: motherhood and abundance. 8. Cronus. Characters: Cronus is one of the leaders of the Titans and a symbol of time and fate. It was overthrown by the Olympians after the Titan War. Symbol: the controller of time and fate, who once ruled the celestial realm and was later overthrown by Zeus. 9. Hestia. Role: Hestia is the goddess of family and fire. She played an important role in the Titans, but her role is more prominent in the mythology of the Olympus. Symbolism: the home and the fire. 10. Epimetheus. Character: Epimetheus is the brother of Prometheus, who is primarily responsible for creating and giving animal traits, but is known for failing to provide proper gifts to humans. Symbolism: passive and unresponsive wisdom. 11. Prometheus. Role: Brother Prime, an important figure in the Titans, was punished for stealing flames and giving them to humans. He is also a symbol of civilization and technology. Symbolism: wisdom and human creativity. 12. Mnemosyne. Role: Mnemosyne is the goddess of memory and a member of the Titans. She is the mother of the Muses, a symbol of art and literature. Symbolism: a symbol of memory and knowledge. The fate of the Titans. In the Titan War, the Olympians fought fiercely with the Titans, and in the end the Olympians won, and the Titans were overthrown and imprisoned in Tartarus, a place located in the depths of hell. The images and stories of these Titan gods played an important role in Greece mythology, demonstrating the ancient Greece's understanding of the universe and gods. Source: Wikipedia. The Titans are ancient gods who emerged after the primordial gods. The first Titans were born to the god Olynos and the god Ge, and had 6 males and 6 females. Article 11. Fossil. Source: ChatGPT. Fossils are relics preserved in geological sediments by the remains, traces, or imprints of ancient organisms or plants. They provide scientists with important information about the Earth's history, biological evolution, and paleo-environment. Here are the details about the fossils. 1. Types of fossils. Fossil remains: fossils of hard tissues such as bones, shells, and teeth of ancient animals and plants. For example, dinosaur bones, teeth of ancient fish, etc. Fossil traces refers to the traces left by organisms in sediments, such as footprints, food marks, wormholes, etc. These traces are capable of revealing the behavior and activities of living beings. Fossil imprints, these include impressions on plant leaves, fruits, and tree trunks, which are usually traces of biological forms left in sediments. Fossil chemicals, chemicals from certain organisms are preserved in rocks, such as fossil resins, amber, from some plants. 2. The process of fossil formation. Buried organisms are covered with sediments, e.g., sediment, ash, after death, which isolates oxygen and reduces the rate of decay. Mineralization. During burial, the hard tissues of an organism, such as bones or shells, are replaced by minerals, a process known as mineralization. The minerals in the water penetrate into the living organism and react with the original organic matter to form fossils. Compression. The gradual accumulation and compaction of sediments makes fossils harder and often compressed into two-dimensional forms. Exposure. After a long geological process, fossils may be exposed to the surface by crustal movement or erosion for scientists to excavate and study. 3. Classification of fossils. Animal and plant fossils, including the remains of various ancient animal and plant species, such as dinosaur fossils, ancient plant fossils, etc. Microfossils, fossils of tiny single-celled organisms, e.g., archaeal fossils, phytoplankton fossils, usually studied under a microscope. Paleogeographic fossils, fossils used to study the ancient environment and climate change, such as ancient corals, shells, etc. 4. Scientific study of fossils. Paleontology, the study of fossils, with the aim of understanding the morphology, behavior, and evolutionary processes of ancient organisms. Stratigraphy, analyze the relative age of strata through fossils to understand the geological history and evolution of the Earth. Paleoenvironmental, the study of fossils to reconstruct ancient environmental and climatic conditions. For example, by studying plant fossils, it is possible to speculate about changes in the ancient climate. 5. Application of fossils. Scientific research. Fossils provide important information about the history of the Earth, the evolution of life, and the paleo-environment, and are essential for paleontology, geology, and archaeological research. Education and display. Fossils are often used in museum displays and educational activities to help the public understand the history of the Earth and the evolution of life. Archaeology. Certain fossils can help archaeologists study ancient humans and ancient cultures, understanding the lives and environment of early humans. 6. Famous fossil finds. Dinosaur fossils, including the fossils of the famous dinosaurs such as Tyrannosaurus rex and Triceratops, which provide valuable information for studying the morphology and life of dinosaurs. Archaeopteryx fossils, thought to be the early ancestors of birds, providing evidence of the evolution of birds. Oxton fossils, includes fossils of ancient sea creatures and provides information for the study of ancient marine environments. 7. Conservation of fossils. Fossil excavation. The scientific method and ethical standards should be followed to ensure that the fossil is not damaged during the excavation process and that its scientific value is maintained. Museums and laboratories. Fossils are often protected and studied in museums and laboratories, using appropriate conservation techniques to prevent further destruction of fossils. Fossils are not only a record of the history of the Earth, but also a testimony to the evolution of life. Through the study of fossils, scientists are able to gain insight into Earth's past life forms, environmental changes, and geological processes. Source: Wikipedia. Fossils are the remains of ancient organisms, relics, or traces of life that remain in rocks, most commonly bones and shells. Studying fossils can help us understand the evolution of living things and can understand human evolution. Helps determine the age of the strata. The remains of ancient animals or plants preserved in the rocks of the Earth's crust, or evidence of the existence of human remains, are called fossils. Fossils have been found between the Archean, 3.4 billion years ago, and the Holocene, 10,000 years ago. In the long geological time, there have been countless creatures living on the Earth, and many of the remains of these creatures after death or the traces left by life were buried by the sediment of the time. In the years that followed, the organic matter in the remains of these creatures was decomposed, and the hard parts such as the shells, bones, branches and leaves, along with the surrounding sediment, were petrified and turned into stone, but their original form, structure, and even some subtle internal structures, remained. In the same way, the traces left by those creatures when they lived can be preserved in this way. We call these petrified remains and relics fossils. From the fossils, you can see the appearance of ancient animals and plants, so that you can infer the living conditions and living environment of ancient animals and plants. You can infer the age and changes of the strata where the fossils are buried, and you can see the changes of organisms from ancient times to the present. In fact, for a long time, fossilization was considered to be a simple petrification, and it was only later that humans gradually understood the principle of fossil formation. It is a very complex process, a combination of three phenomena: biological, physical, and chemical. The formation of fossils requires some special conditions. First, the dead organisms are quickly buried in sand, silt, or river mud without decomposing. The bottom of the sea and the bottom of the lake are very conducive environments, as are the grasslands and deserts. Second, the organism does not decay, but gradually replaces the organism's organic matter with minerals. Finally, for fossils to remain unchanged for millions of years, they must be petrified without any geological changes. Article 12. All living things can be turned into fossils. Source: ChatGPT. Not all living things can be turned into fossils. The formation of fossils is a complex process that involves specific environmental conditions and material changes. Here are some of the factors that affect whether an organism can become a fossil or not. 1. Composition of the organism. Hard tissue vs. soft tissues. The hard tissues of living organisms, e.g., bones, teeth, shells, are more likely to become fossilized because they are better preserved in sediments. Soft tissues, e.g., muscles, internal organs, are susceptible to decay and are less likely to become fossilized. Although sometimes soft tissues can be preserved under special conditions, this is very rare. 2. Sedimentary conditions. Rapid burial. Organisms must be quickly covered with sediment, e.g., sediment, ash, to prevent decay and decomposition. If an organism is exposed to air after death, it is usually decomposed by microorganisms and cannot be fossilized. Stable environment. Fossil formation requires a relatively stable environment that avoids excessive physical and chemical changes. Moist or acidic environments can accelerate the degradation of organic matter, which is not conducive to fossil formation. 3. Mineralization process. Mineral deposition. The formation of fossils usually involves the process of mineral deposition. In the buried layer, minerals in the water penetrate into the tissues of the organism and gradually replace the original organic material, forming mineralized fossils. Without a proper source of minerals, this process does not take place. 4. Geological activity. Crustal movement. After fossils are formed, they need to go through the stabilization phase of the Earth's crust before they can be preserved in rocks. Violent movements of the Earth's crust, erosion, and other geological activities can destroy or erase fossils. 5. The environment and number of organisms. Common vs. rare organisms. Ubiquitous organisms, e.g., shells, corals, are more likely to become fossilized because their remains are more likely to be deposited in large quantities. Rare or local organisms have less chance of fossilization. 6. Preservation under special conditions. Amberization. Certain organisms, such as insects, can be preserved in resin, amber. It is a special process of fossilization that preserves the soft tissues and details of living things. Frozen fossils. in extremely cold environments, certain animals, such as mammoths, can be preserved by freezing, which can also be considered a special form of fossilization. 7. The scarcity of fossils. Due to the limitations of the above factors, fossils are relatively scarce, and many organisms do not leave a fossil record. This is why the fossil record is incomplete, and we can only get a part of the history of the Earth from it. Conclusion. In summary, the formation of fossils requires specific conditions and environments, and not all organisms can become fossils under these conditions. The complexity of the fossilization process and the scarcity of conditions make the fossil record a fragment of Earth's history. Article 13. Tundra. Source: ChatGPT. Permafrost refers to layers of soil and rock that remain frozen for a long time. Permafrost is mainly found at high latitudes, such as the Arctic and subpolar regions, as well as in alpine regions. Here are the details about the permafrost. 1. Definition of permafrost. Permafrost. Permafrost refers to the temperature of soil or rock that remains below 0 degrees Celsius, 32 degrees Fahrenheit, for many years, usually for 2 years or more. Soil or rocks in this frozen state can contain ice, frozen water, and minerals. 2. Distribution of permafrost. Arctic. Permafrost is widely found within the Arctic Circle, including places such as Canada, Russia, Greenland, and Alaska. Alpine regions. In some alpine regions, permafrost can occur at higher altitudes, such as the Himalayas and the Andes. Subpolar regions. Includes permafrost in some subpolar regions, especially in northern Europe and northern Asia. 3. Structure of the permafrost. Active layer. The layer that sits on the surface of the permafrost layer and periodically thaws and freezes due to seasonal temperature changes. The active layer usually melts in the summer and freezes again in the winter. Permafrost. Located below the active layer, the temperature is continuously below 0 degrees Celsius. This layer does not melt due to seasonal changes. 4. Formation of permafrost. Climatic conditions. The formation of permafrost requires long-term low-temperature conditions. The average annual temperature must be below freezing in order to keep the soil frozen. Precipitation. In some areas, precipitation is low, which helps to reduce soil melting. Precipitation can come in the form of snow, which also helps to isolate the soil and slow down the transfer of heat. 5. Characteristics of permafrost. Presence of ice. Permafrost often contains large amounts of ice, which may be in the form of ice cubes, ice crystals, or moisture. Geological structure. Permafrost may contain frozen rocks, sediments, and organic matter. The soil or rock layer beneath it can also be affected by ice in the permafrost. 6. The effects of permafrost. Ecological impacts. Permafrost has a significant impact on local ecosystems. For example, it can restrict the growth of plants and affect the habitat of plants and animals. Thawing of permafrost can lead to habitat changes and impacts on biodiversity. Buildings and infrastructure. The effects of permafrost need to be considered when constructing buildings and infrastructure in permafrost areas. For example, the foundation of a building may need to be specially designed to prevent settlement due to thawing permafrost. Climate change. Global warming can lead to the melting of permafrost, which releases frozen organic matter, leading to the release of greenhouse gases such as methane, which can further exacerbate global warming. Natural disasters. Thawing of permafrost can lead to landslides, soil subsidence, and other geological hazards. In addition, thawing permafrost can lead to changes in some groundwater sources. 7. Permafrost research. Scientific research. Studying permafrost contributes to the understanding of global climate change, changes in ecosystems, and geological processes. Scientists study the properties and changes of permafrost by drilling, observing and analyzing permafrost samples. Climate modeling. Changes in permafrost have important implications for the global climate system, and scientists use climate models to predict the potential impact of permafrost changes on the global climate. 8. Related questions. Thawing of permafrost. As global temperatures rise, thawing permafrost can release large amounts of greenhouse gases, such as methane and carbon dioxide, which could further exacerbate climate change. Environmental protection. Protecting permafrost and its ecosystems is an important aspect of addressing climate change and preserving biodiversity. Scientists and policymakers are working to monitor and manage changes in permafrost. Permafrost plays an important role in the Earth's ecosystem and climate system. Understanding the properties and changes of permafrost can help us meet the challenges of climate change and protect the global environment. Source: Wikipedia. Permafrost refers to the soil or rock layer where the soil temperature remains below 0 degrees Celsius and freezes, and the topsoil presents morphological characteristics such as freeze-thaw creeping, such as polygonal soil or stone rings. The global permafrost covers an area of about 5.9 million square kilometers, accounting for 5.5% of the total land area. Article 14. Fossils have no biological properties. Source: ChatGPT. Fossils do not possess biological properties as they are primarily physical and chemical imprints of the remains of ancient organisms rather than living organisms. Here's a detailed explanation of why fossils don't have biological properties. 1. The nature of fossils. Non-living matter. A fossil is a mineral form in which the remains or traces of an organism are transformed by the process of fossilization. The original organic material, such as bones, shells, leaves, etc., is replaced or filled with minerals, which eventually forms a hard rock structure. These mineral substitutes no longer have biological properties or biological activities. Physical and chemical records. Fossils retain morphological features or imprints of organisms, but these features are made of minerals and no longer have the biochemical activity or function of an organism. 2. Petrochemical process. Mineralization process. The fossilization process usually involves the replacement of the organic matter of an organism with minerals. This process converts the original organic material into inorganic minerals through mineral deposition and chemical reactions, forming stable rocks. Preservation marks. In some cases, fossils may retain morphological features of the organism, e.g., footprints, fossil impressions, but these traces are formed by sediments or minerals and do not possess biological properties. 3. The difference between fossils and living things. Biological attributes. Living organisms have biological functions, metabolic processes, genetic material, etc. Whereas, fossils are non-biochemical products of living organisms and do not possess these biological properties. Loss of function. The formation of fossils means that the biological function of the organism has been lost. Fossils only retain the appearance or imprint of the organism in the past, but these fossils no longer carry out biological activities such as growth, reproduction, etc. 4. The use of fossils. Scientific research. Fossils are used to study ancient organisms, geological history, and paleoenvironments. They are an important tool for understanding the history of the Earth and the evolution of life. Education and display. Fossils are often used in museums and educational events to help the public understand ancient life and how the planet has changed. 5. Exceptions to fossilization. Amber fossils. Certain fossils, such as those of insects in amber, retain the soft tissues and details of the organism, but these retained tissues are no longer biologically active after the fossils are formed. Frozen fossils. In extreme cold conditions, the soft tissues of certain animals can be preserved, but these tissues are still frozen rather than biologically preserved. Conclusion. Fossils are the mineralized manifestations of the remains of ancient organisms, which are mainly composed of minerals and have no biological properties. They are an important tool for studying the history of the Earth and the evolution of life, but they no longer have the activity or function of living organisms. Article 15. Devil's Tower. Source: ChatGPT. Devil's Tower is a unique rocky landmark in northeastern Wyoming, United States, located within the Devil's Tower National Monument. It was the first place in the United States to be designated as a national monument, Features and backgrounds of the Devil's Tower include 1. Geographical and geological features. Form: the Devil's Tower is a vertical rock tower composed mainly of basalt. The height of the tower is about 1,267 feet, 386 m, and it is about 867 feet, 264 m, from the base to the top. The top of the tower is about 1,000 feet, 300 m, wide. Formation: the formation of the Devil's Tower is associated with the intrusion of igneous rocks. It is formed by the cooling and contraction of basalt lava, creating a distinctive hexagonal fissure. This process gives the tower a regular columnar structure on the outside. 2. Culture and mythology. Indigenous legends. The Devil's Tower is rich in lore and cultural significance among local indigenous tribes such as the Shoshone, Lakota, and Arapaho peoples. Different tribes have different stories. For example, there are legends that tell that the tower was formed from the marks of a huge bear scratch, or that it is an important location in mythology. Modern legend. The name Devil's Tower originated from European explorers in the 19th century who believed that the shape and appearance of the tower were mysterious and striking. The name may not exactly fit the traditional name of an indigenous culture, but it is widely accepted in modern culture. 3. Science and exploration. Mountaineering and rock climbing. The Devil's Tower is a popular destination for rock climbing enthusiasts. The exterior of the tower is framed by multiple vertical crevices, making it a challenging place to climb. Rock climbers usually climb on the surface of the tower, experiencing routes of varying difficulty. Scientific research. The Devil's Tower is an important example of geologists studying igneous rocks and intrusive rock masses. Its unique geological features provide valuable information about the cooling and crystallization of igneous rocks. 4. Cultural influences. Film and literature. The Devil's Tower has also had a significant impact on popular culture. For example, in the 1977 science fiction film Close Encounters of the Third Kind, the Devil's Tower was depicted as the location where aliens came into contact with Earth. The film made the Devil's Tower a well-known landmark for audiences around the world. 5. Protection and stewardship. National monument. After the Devil's Tower was established as a national monument, it was protected and managed to ensure that its natural landscape and cultural heritage were not destroyed. Visitors can enjoy this natural wonder through a variety of activities, such as trekking and sightseeing. Environmental protection. The administration is committed to protecting the Devil's Tower and its surroundings, including maintaining the health of the local ecosystem, as well as respecting the traditions of indigenous cultures. Source: Wikipedia. Devil's Tower National Monument is a United States national monument that is part of the United States National Park System and is managed by the United States National Park Service. Every year, about 400,000 tourists visit and 4,000 try to climb to the top. The dominant landscape is an igneous intrusive rock or volcanic hydration in northeastern Wyoming. The height is about 386 meters, and the altitude is 1,558 meters above sea level. The top area is about 91 m times 55 m. This place was originally a holy place for Indians. The first time whites set foot in this place was Col. Dodge, a colonel in the United States Army. Richard Irving Dodge led a survey team that made its first record when he arrived in Wyoming in 1875. Years later, in 1906, Theodore Roosevelt, a young United States who loved the wilderness, established the Devil's Tower as the first national monument in United States by invoking the Antiquities Act. Article 16. Wave Valley. Source: ChatGPT. The Wave is a unique sandstone landscape located on the border of United States Arizona and Utah, known for its wave-like geological formations. This geological wonder is one of the most famous natural landscapes in North America and attracts tourists and photographers alike. Here are the details about Wave Valley. 1. Geographical and geological features. Location: Wave Valley is located in the southwestern United States, across the Arizona and Utah borders, specifically north of Utah, near the Arizona border. Formation: wave valleys are made up of red sandstone, formed mainly by ancient dune rocks and wind erosion. Its distinctive wave-like pattern is due to wind erosion and the long-term action of water currents. These wavy rock formations form complex curves and textures. Colors and textures: Wave Valley is known for its colorful rock formations and wave shapes, with rock surfaces taking on a variety of hues ranging from red, orange to yellow. Wind erosion causes the rock formations to exhibit extremely detailed textures and curves. 2. Travel and adventure. Visitor restrictions: due to the preservation of the natural environment and ensuring the safety of visitors, the number of visitors entering Wave Valley is limited. Usually, visitors need to obtain permission through a lottery in advance. The number of visitors allowed per day is limited to reduce the impact on this fragile environment. Hiking: the main way to reach Wave Valley is through hiking. Visitors will need to go through a relatively difficult trekking trail through desert and rocky terrain. Hiking usually requires a certain amount of physical fitness and stamina, and it is recommended that visitors be accompanied by a professional guide. 3. Photography and natural landscapes. Photography: Wave Valley is a photographer's paradise due to its unique geological features and beautiful colors. Especially in the morning and at dusk, the change of light makes the color of the rock more vivid and attractive. Natural landscapes: Wave Valley is a hotspot for nature landscape enthusiasts and geologists to study. It shows the unique morphology of wind erosion and sandstone, and how natural forces shape the Earth's surface. 4. Protection and management. Environmental protection: the fragility of the Wave Valley makes environmental protection a priority. Authorities have taken a variety of measures to protect this natural wonder, including controlling visitor numbers, maintaining trails, and limiting access to rock faces. Education and awareness raising: to raise public awareness of environmental protection, management, and nature conservation, organizations provide educational materials and guides to help visitors understand how to minimize environmental impact during their tours. 5. Related attractions. Nearby attractions: other natural attractions near Wave Valley are worth visiting, such as Lonely Rock, Sand Dunes, and Thumb Butte. These places also offer beautiful landscapes and hiking opportunities. Summary: Wave Valley is a popular destination for nature lovers and photographers with its unique geological features and beautiful landscapes. Its wavy rock formations and rich colors showcase the wonder and power of nature, while also reminding us to protect and respect these precious natural resources. Due to its uniqueness and fragility, access to Wave Valley is strictly managed to ensure that its natural beauty is preserved for a long time. Source: Beidou Encyclopedia. Refers to the Paria Canyon of the Crimson Cliffs of northern Arizona, United States, whose sandstone lines are like waves, so this place is called the Wave, that is, waves, is a scenic area composed of colorful strange stones. It was only discovered by a few photography enthusiasts in the United States 30 years ago. Article 17. Tanis. Source: ChatGPT. Tanis was an ancient city in ancient Egypt, located northeast of the Nile Delta, near today's San el Hagar, Egypt. Tanis had an important political and religious position in the history of ancient Egypt, especially during the Third Middle Period, c. 1070 BC to 664 BC, when it became one of the capitals of Egypt. Here are the details about Tanis. 1. Historical background. Establishment and early history. The establishment of Tanis dates back to the Old Kingdom period, c. 2686 BC to 2181 BC, but it reached its peak in the late New Kingdom and the Third Middle Period. Tanis's original name was Janes, a name that was called Tanis by Greece during the Greece era. Capital of the Third Intermediate Period, during the 21st Dynasty, c. 1079–45 BC, and the 22nd Dynasty, c. 945–715 BC, Tanis became the political and religious center of Egypt. The pharaohs built palaces and temples here, developing Tanis into one of the major cities in the Nile Delta. 2. Archaeological finds. Pyramids and necropolis. Tanis is known for its large collection of royal tombs and pyramid sites. During archaeological excavations in the 20th century, archaeologists discovered several tombs of pharaohs, including the famous tomb of Pharaoh Sesensei of the 21st dynasty. The large number of gold and jewels found in the tomb is comparable to that of Tutankhamun's. Temple ruins. Tanis is home to an important religious complex, which includes temples dedicated to Amun-Re and other deities. Although the buildings were poorly preserved due to the material of the mud bricks and the erosion of the flood, their original grandeur can still be seen. Stone carvings and artifacts. Tanis has unearthed many stone carvings, inscriptions, and religious artifacts. These artifacts help researchers understand the political, religious, and artistic development of the Third Middle Period in ancient Egypt. 3. Religious significance. Worship of Amun. Tanis is one of the important centers of Amun-Ra worship. Amun-Ra became one of the most important gods in Egypt during the New Kingdom, and the Temple of Tanis is an important symbol of this faith. Religious migration. The importance of Tanis as a religious center was particularly prominent in the Third Intermediate Period, as the cult of Amun-Ra gradually shifted from Thebes to Tanis. This religious migration also reflected a change in political power. 4. Relationship with the Bible. Biblical Zoan. Tanis is biblically called Zoan and is described as an important city in Egypt that may have a connection to Israel's Book of Egypt. This association makes Tanis of some importance in Bible studies. 5. Decline and the current state of the site. Decline of the city. With the end of the Third Intermediate Period and the advent of the Late Egypt period, Tanis gradually lost its status as a capital and religious center. By the time of the Ptolemaic dynasty, Tanis had been largely abandoned. Modern ruins. Today, the site of Tanis is mainly made up of archaeological remains, which attract many researchers and tourists. Although these sites are relatively few well preserved, they remain a key resource for studying the history of Middle and Late Ancient Egypt. 6. Challenges in archaeology. Preservation of mud brick structures. Most of the buildings in Tanis were built with mud bricks, which made them vulnerable to Nile flooding and climate erosion. Archaeologists face many challenges when excavating and protecting these sites. Scattering of artifacts. Many artifacts have been damaged or scattered due to numerous looting and natural disasters throughout history, which makes the study of Tanis history even more complicated. Summary. Tanis is an important and complex city in the history of ancient Egypt, and its archaeological sites provide us with rich historical and cultural information. Despite the erosion of time and nature, Tanis remains an important window into understanding the Third Middle Period of ancient Egypt, and its excavated artifacts and relics provide valuable clues for the study of the development of Egypt's civilization. Source: Wikipedia. Tanis is the Greek name of the ancient Egypt city of Janus. Tanis is located in the northeastern part of Egypt's Nile Delta, on the banks of Tanatik, one of the tributaries of the ancient Nile, which has long since dried up. Article 18. Giant statue of Tanis. Source: ChatGPT. Tanis is famous for its magnificent temples and royal buildings, including several huge statues of gods. Although many of the statues of the gods of Tanis have been damaged due to the passage of time and natural disasters, archaeologists have found several important statue fragments and pedestals at the site. These idols mainly represent the gods and pharaohs of ancient Egypt, demonstrating the splendor of Tanis as a political and religious center. 1. The background of the giant idol. Idol of Amun-Re. Tanis is one of the centers of Amun-Ra worship. Amun-Ra was one of the most important gods of ancient Egypt and usually appeared in the form of a human body and a sheep's head. The temple of Amun-Ra in Tanis may have enshrined several huge idols of Amun-Re. Statues of the pharaohs. Several statues of the pharaohs have also been found in the temples and palaces of Tanis. These statues were usually made to represent the sanctity and authority of the pharaohs and were often placed at the entrance of the temple or in the main hall. 2 famous idols and relics. Statue of Ramses II. Several statues of Ramses II have been found in the Tanis site. Ramses II was one of the most famous pharaohs of the New Kingdom period in ancient Egypt, and his statues are often known for their monumental scale and fine craftsmanship. Although most of the statues are damaged, parts of the pharaoh's head, torso, and pedestal can still be seen. Sphinx statues. In Tanis, archaeologists have found a number of Sphinx statues that may have been originally located on either side of the temple's passages, guarding the path to the temple. These sphinxes usually appear in the form of a sphinx, symbolizing the pharaoh's strength and wisdom. Fragments and pedestals. Although many of the statues have been destroyed or removed, archaeologists have still found a large number of statue fragments and pedestals in Tanis. These fragments provide important information about ancient Egypt carving art and religious rituals. 3. Archaeological excavation and research. Archaeological finds. The site of Tanis has attracted many archaeologists since the 19th century. Especially in the 20th century, archaeologists found a large number of statue fragments, including the remains of some huge idols. These discoveries help us understand the importance of Tanis in the history of ancient Egypt. Reconstruction of the statue. Archaeologists have attempted to reconstruct the original appearance of the statue by piecing together and studying the fragments of the statue. These reconstructions not only demonstrate the high skill of ancient Egypt sculpture, but also provide valuable information about the religious beliefs of the time. 4. The significance of the giant idol. Religious symbols. These giant idols symbolize the close relationship between the pharaohs and the gods. By erecting huge idols of gods in temples, the pharaoh cemented himself as a representative of the deities, while also demonstrating the sanctity of kingship. Political propaganda. The giant idol is also an important tool for political propaganda. They demonstrate the power and control of the pharaoh over the country and serve as a reminder that the pharaoh was not only a ruler but also an incarnation of the gods on earth. 5. Status and protection. Status of the site. Today, the colossal statues of Tanis mostly exist in the form of fragments, many of which have been moved to museums for conservation and exhibition. However, these sites remain important cultural and historical heritage, attracting a large number of researchers and tourists. Conservation challenges. The conservation of the Tanis site faces challenges due to the impact of the natural environment, such as flooding and weathering. Archaeologists and conservation organizations are committed to preserving these precious relics and ensuring that future generations can continue to learn and appreciate the splendor of ancient Egypt. Summary. The colossal statue of Tanis reflects the religious, artistic, and political splendor of ancient Egypt. These statues not only demonstrate the exquisite craftsmanship of ancient Egypt carving, but also convey the pharaoh's understanding of power and sacredness. Although most of these idols are broken, their remains still provide us with important clues to the culture of ancient Egypt. Article 19. Colossus of Memnon. Source: ChatGPT. The Colossi of Memnon are two famous giant stone statues in ancient Egypt, located in the ancient ruins of Thebes on the west bank of Luxor, Egypt. These two statues are colossal statues of Pharaoh Amenhotep III during the New Kingdom of ancient Egypt, built in the 14th century BC to guard his mausoleum. The Colossus of Memnon is one of the most famous sculptures of ancient Egypt and is rich in historical and cultural significance. 1. Description of the statue. Scale and materials. The Colossus of Memnon is about 18 meters, 60 feet, tall and carved out of sandstone. Each statue weighs 720 tons and sits on a huge pedestal. The statue depicts the image of Pharaoh Amenhotep III with his hands on his knees and his eyes fixed on the direction of the Nile to the east. Location. The Colossus is located at the entrance to the mausoleum of Amenhotep III, which was once one of the grandest structures in ancient Egypt, but most of it has been destroyed by the floods of the Nile and time. 2. The Legend of Memnon. Legends of the Greece period. In Greece and Roman times, the Colossus of Memnon was given a new identity and legend. Greece associated the two statues with King Memnon in Greece mythology, a legendary hero of the Trojan War. It is said that Memnon's mother was Eos, the goddess of the dawn, and after the death of her son Memnon, she wept for him every morning. Greece believed that one of the statues would make a singing or crying sound in the early morning, which was interpreted as Memnon answering his mother's call. Singing phenomenon. This phenomenon may be caused by the rapid change in air and humidity in the rock as the temperature changes in the early morning when the statue changes. After the Roman Emperor Severus restored the statue in 199 AD, this phenomenon of singing disappeared. 3. History and archaeology. Construction and purpose. The Colossus of Memnon is part of the mausoleum of Amenhotep III, which was built to commemorate the life and achievements of the pharaoh. The statue symbolizes the majesty and sanctity of the pharaoh, guarding his eternal resting place. Archaeological excavations. The Colossi of Memnon has been the object of archaeological research since the 19th century. While much of Amenhotep III's mausoleum has been destroyed, archaeologists have found many important artifacts and architectural remains around the Colossus, further revealing the splendor of the new kingdom. 4. Cultural influences. Literature and art. The Colossus of Memnon has had a wide influence in both ancient and modern literature and art. Poets and writers of the Greece and Roman periods often wrote about these statues and their mysterious phenomenon of singing. The Colossus of Memnon has also become an iconic location for tourism and photography in Egypt, attracting countless tourists and artists. Symbolism. The Colossus of Memnon is not only a symbol of Pharaoh Amenhotep III, but also an outstanding representative of ancient Egypt architecture and carving art. They symbolize the strength and durability of ancient Egypt civilization. 5. Conservation and status. State of preservation. Despite thousands of years, the Colossus of Memnon still stands. Over time, the colossi have been affected by natural weathering and earthquakes, but they remain one of the most famous ruins of ancient Egypt. Modern preservation. Archaeologists and conservation experts are dedicated to the study and preservation of the Colossus of Memnon and the surrounding remains to ensure that this important historical heritage is preserved and passed on. Summary. The Colossus of Memnon is a great achievement in the art of ancient Egypt carving and a timeless monument to Pharaoh Amenhotep III. Not only do they represent the remarkable achievements of ancient Egypt in sculpture and architecture, but they are also known worldwide for their connection to Greece mythology and the mysterious phenomenon of singing. Today, the Colossus of Memnon still attracts visitors and researchers from all over the world, bearing witness to the afterglow of ancient Egypt's glorious history. Source: Wikipedia. The Colossus of Memnon is two giant stone statues of Amenhotep III, the pharaoh of the 18th dynasty of ancient Egypt, and they stand on the remains of the Temple of Amenhotep III, the largest temple in the Theban necropolis complex. Since its construction in 1350 BC, it has been known to ancient Greece, ancient Romans, travelers, and Egyptologists. The two colosses bear 107 Greek and Latin inscriptions from the Roman era, dating from between 20 and 250 AD. Many of the inscriptions on the colossus on the north face refer to King Memnon in Greece, so much so that people at the time mistakenly believed that the colossus was based on him. Scholars are also studying how the colossus of the north as Memnon is linked to the Greece name Memnon of the entire Theban necropolis complex. These two colossal statues are seated statues of the 18th dynasty pharaoh Amenhotep III, c. 14th century BC, with his hands on his knees and his gaze towards the river to the east, in modern orientation, actually southeast. On the throne next to his legs, two smaller figures are carved with statues of his wife, Queen Tai, and his mother, Mtemwiya, while the side panels are carved with Hapi, the god of the Nile. Article 20. Mesa. Source: ChatGPT. The name mesas may refer to a mountain range or geographic feature in different locations, depending on the country or region. Here are a few sites associated with mesas and their characteristics. 1. Pingdingshan City, Henan Province, China. Location: Pingdingshan City, located in the central part of Henan Province, China, is a city famous for its coal resources. Features: the area where Pingdingshan City is located is named because of its topography, surrounded by mountains, and the urban area is relatively flat. The city has an important position in China's energy industry, especially in coal production. Natural landscapes: although the city itself is not known for its natural mountains, there are some famous natural attractions nearby, such as the Yaishan Scenic Area and the Bayun Mountain Scenic Area. 2. Table Mountain. Location: Table Mountain is located in Cape Town, South Africa, and is one of the world's famous mesas. Features: Table Mountain gets its name from its flat summit, which is about 1,085 meters high. The top of the mountain is as flat as a table, and there are clouds and mist all year round, which is called tablecloth cloud. Natural landscapes: Table Mountain is an iconic Cape Town landscape with a rich biodiversity, including many endemic plant species. Visitors can hike or take a cable car to the summit to overlook downtown Cape Town and the Atlantic Ocean. 3. Mt. Flats in Arizona, United States. Location: Many desert areas in Arizona and Utah in the southwestern United States have mesas-like terrain. Characteristics: These mountains are usually composed of a hard rock layer at the top and a softer rock layer at the bottom, and weathering has led to the gradual erosion of the bottom rock layer, leaving a flat mountain at the top, forming a flat-topped mountain. Natural landscapes: Arizona's mosaic topography is one of the unique geological landscapes of the western United States, mostly found in areas such as the Grand Canyon and the Navajo National Monument. 4. Mount Tepuy in South America. Location: Mount Tepuy is located in the highlands of Venezuela, Brazil, and Guyana. Features: Mount Tepuy is one of the oldest geological formations in the world. These flat-topped mountains have formed towering cliffs and flat summits due to hundreds of millions of years of weathering and erosion. Natural landscapes: Mount Tepuy is a unique habitat with many endemic plant and animal species at its summit, the most famous of which is Mount Roraima in Venezuela. Summary: Pingdingshan as a topographic feature can be found all over the world, including the names of cities in China, Table Mountain, South Africa famous natural landscape, and the geological wonders of United States and South America. They have different characteristics and reasons for their formation, but they all demonstrate the diversity of the Earth's geology and the magnificence of nature. Source: Wikipedia. A square hill or mesa is a unique topography of a dry region in which the top is flat and the sides are often steep cliffs, formed by weathering and erosion of flat rocks. Mesa is found in southwestern United States, Spain, Sardinia, northern and southern Africa, Arabia, India, Australia, and the largest mesa in the world is the Grand Mesa in western Colorado, United States. Article 21. Inverted terrain. Source: ChatGPT. Inverted topography refers to a geological phenomenon in which an area that was originally low-lying or low-lying gradually becomes a high-lying area due to geological action or erosion. This phenomenon usually involves more complex geological processes that lead to inverted terrain. The phenomenon of inverted topography can be observed in many parts of the world, especially those that have experienced strong erosion or crustal uplift. 1. Causes. The formation of inverted topography typically involves the following major geological processes. Erosion and sedimentation. Originally lower terrain, such as river valleys or basins, may be more resistant to erosion due to the deposit of harder rock layers, such as basalt or quartz sandstone. Over time, the softer strata around it are gradually eroded, and these harder sediments are retained, eventually becoming areas of higher ground. Crustal uplift. In some cases, areas of terrain that are originally low-lying may be affected by crustal uplift, especially at the boundaries of tectonic plates. This uplift causes the originally low-lying areas to gradually become elevated. Volcanic activity. Volcanic eruptions deposit volcanic rocks, such as basalt, in low-lying areas that are highly resistant to erosion. As the softer strata around it are eroded, the volcanic rock area instead forms a raised terrain. 2 examples. Colorado Plateau, United States. There are many examples of inverted terrain on the Colorado Plateau. Originally low-lying valleys washed out by rivers, these valleys were hardened by lava flows, and eventually became raised terrain after the surrounding soft rock was eroded. Mount Nisjokmar in England, United Kingdom. In the Mount Nusiomur region of northeast England, there are some ancient river valleys. Because these valleys are covered in hard sandstone, after millions of years of erosion, the original valleys have become highlands, while the surrounding soft rocks have been eroded. China's Loess Plateau. On the Loess Plateau, inverted terrain is also common. The original ravines and low-lying areas were uplifted by the deposition of loess, while the surrounding highlands were gradually lowered by erosion. 3. Geological significance. The study of inverted topography is important for understanding geological history and geomorphological evolution. It can provide clues about past climate change, erosion processes, and crustal movements. At the same time, the phenomenon of inverted topography will also affect the modern hydrological and geographical conditions and ecosystem distribution. Summary. Inverted topography is an important phenomenon in geology that involves complex geological processes such as erosion, sedimentation, and crustal movement. It is found in many parts of the world, providing important clues to understand the history and evolution of the Earth's landforms. This phenomenon reminds us that the terrain is not static, but is constantly being shaped and transformed by the forces of nature. Article 22. Granite. Source: ChatGPT. Granite is a widely distributed and significant plutonic intrusive rock composed mainly of quartz, feldspar, and mica. Due to its hard, durable properties, granite is widely used in the fields of construction, carving, and decoration. 1. Composition and structure. Main ingredients: quartz, transparent or milky white minerals that make up 20 to 60% of the total amount of granite soil. Feldspar, divided into copper feldspar and plagioclase feldspar, usually pink-red, white or light gray, accounting for 50 to 70% of granite rock. Mica, includes black biotite and golden muscovite, although less abundant, but has an important impact on the color and texture of granite. Structural characteristics: granite grains vary in thickness and usually have a granular structure, that is, the size and shape of mineral particles are relatively uniform. Quartz, feldspar, and mica fit together to form a solid structure. 2. Formation process. Granite is formed in a high-temperature and high-pressure environment deep in the Earth's crust and is usually closely related to the tectonic activity of continental plates. The process of its formation is as follows. Magmatic intrusion. Granite is formed in the magma chamber deep in the Earth's crust, and the magma intrudes upwards into the Earth's crust due to tectonic activity, but fails to erupt to the surface, and slowly cools and crystallizes inside the Earth's crust to form granite. Crystallization process. As the magma cools, the minerals crystallize sequentially. Feldspar and mica crystallize first, followed by quartz. Due to the slow rate of cooling, granite usually has large and clearly visible mineral grains. Uplift and exposure. Tectonic action causes the granite buried deep in the Earth's crust to gradually uplift, and with the erosion of the surface layer, the granite is gradually exposed to the surface. 3. Distribution and type. Global distribution. Granite is widely distributed in continental crusts around the world, and is commonly found in terrain such as mountains and hills, especially in areas with active structures. Type. Granite can be divided into many types according to different colors and compositions, such as pink granite, pink or red color due to the high amount of potassium feldspar. Gray granite, quartz and feldspar are in the right proportion, and the color is more uniform gray. Black and white granite rock. The contrast between black cloud mother and white ore is strong, forming a unique flower pattern. 4. Uses. Building materials. Granite is widely used in the construction industry because of its high hardness, corrosion resistance, and wear resistance. It is commonly used on the exterior walls, floors, steps, and bridges of buildings. Carving material. Due to its beauty and durability, it is an ideal material for carving and monuments. In ancient civilizations, it was used to make statues, mausoleums, and temples. Decorative materials. Granite is often used as kitchen countertops, bathroom walls, and floor tiles, and is loved for its rich colors and beautiful textures. 5 important examples. Pyramids in Egypt. the burial chambers and coffins inside the pyramids are mostly built of granite, showing the importance that ancient Egyptians attached to granite. Taj Mahal in India, the combination of white marble and granite makes the Taj Mahal the pinnacle of architectural art. Statue of Liberty pedestal in United States, the Statue of Liberty's pedestal uses a lot of granite, showing its use in large monumental buildings. Summary: granite is an important plutonic rock with a wide range of geological distribution and diverse application values. Its hard physical properties and aesthetically pleasing appearance make it the material of choice in the fields of architecture, sculpture, and decoration. Granite not only represents the long-term accumulation of geological processes, but also plays an important role in the development of human civilization. Source: Wikipedia. Granite, English, granite, derived from the Latin granum, meaning granite. It is also made of granite, and Hong Kong is also known as granite. Granite is a coarse-grained, crystalline, intrusive igneous rock composed primarily of quartz, alkali feldspar, and plagioclase. It is formed in magma containing high silica and alkali metal oxides, which are formed during a slow cooling and solidification process in the subsurface. Granite is common in the Earth's continental crust and is mainly found in igneous intrusions. The size of these intrusions ranges from a few centimeters wide to beds covering hundreds of square kilometers. Granite is mainly composed of coarse-grained quartz and feldspar in different proportions. These rocks are classified according to the relative percentages of quartz, alkali feldspar, and plagioclase in them, QAPF classification, and true granite is rich in quartz and alkali feldspar. Most granite-like rocks also contain mica or amphibolite minerals, although a few, called dolomite, contain little to no dark minerals. Granite is almost always hard, strong, and has no internal structure, block, so it has been widely used as a building material throughout human history. Article 23. Basalt. Source: ChatGPT. Basalt is a common volcanic rock that belongs to the mafic rock class and is mainly composed of pyroxene, plagioclase, and olivine. Due to its abundance of ferrite minerals, basalts typically appear dark gray to black. Basalt is widely distributed in the crust of the Earth and other planets, especially in the oceanic crust and volcanic islands. It is also one of the richest crustal composition rocks. 1. Composition and structure. Main ingredients. Fluorite, it is one of the main minerals in basalt, usually black or dark green. Plagioclase, the plagioclase in basalt is mostly calcium plagioclase, which is gray or white. Peridot, sometimes it also contains olivine, which has a green color and gives basalt a certain crystal structure. Structural characteristics. Basalts usually have a fine-grained structure, i.e. the mineral particles are so fine that they are sometimes difficult to distinguish with the naked eye. Basalts that cool faster usually have a glassy or porous structure. 2. Formation process. Basalts are mainly formed on the surface of the Earth's crust or during volcanic activity near the surface. The process of formation includes magma eruptions. Basalts are formed by eruptions of mafic magma rich in iron and magnesium. This magma usually rises to the surface in areas of the Earth's crust or in rift valleys and cools rapidly to form basalt. Cooling and crystallization. Due to the rapid cooling rate of basalt, mineral particles are usually small, forming a dense rock structure. Sometimes, basalt may also form columnar joints during cooling, and this unique structure gives basalt a distinct hexagonal column morphology. 3. Distribution and type. Global distribution. Basalt is widely distributed in the oceanic crust, volcanic islands, and rift valleys on continents. It is a major component of the oceanic crust and is also widespread in the continental rift zone and large areas of volcanic plains. Type. According to the formation environment and structural characteristics of basalt, it can be divided into several types. Subalkaline basalts, including Lapo-Rouse basalts and olive basalts, mainly found in mid-ocean ridges and volcanic islands. Alkaline basalt, usually contains more alkaline minerals, such as nepheline and potassium feldspar, and is commonly found in rift valleys and island arc areas across the country. Basalt glass, also known as obsidian, it is a type of basalt glass that is formed by rapid cooling, usually formed during volcanic eruptions. For uses: building materials. Due to the hardness and wear resistance of basalt, it is widely used in construction works such as paving stones, foundation stones, and concrete aggregates. Industrial application. Basalt fiber is a new type of material with the advantages of high strength, high temperature resistance, corrosion resistance, etc., which is widely used in aerospace, automobile manufacturing, and construction. Carving and art. In some cultures, basalt is used to carve monuments and statues because it is durable and has a good texture. 5 important examples. Hawaiian volcanoes. The volcanoes of the Hawaiian Islands are mostly made up of basalt, and their constant erupting basalt lava flows form the basis of these islands. Iceland Rift Valley, located above the mid-Atlantic ridge, Iceland is a typical area of basalt volcanic activity. Basalt lava is widely distributed in Iceland, creating a unique landform. Columbia Plateau basalt, located in the northwestern United States, it is one of the largest large basalt lava mesas on Earth, covering millions of square kilometers. 6. Geological significance. Basalt is one of the important objects of geological research. It is not only a major component of the oceanic crust, but also provides important information about the internal processes of the Earth, plate movements, and volcanic activity. The wide distribution and unique geological characteristics of basalt make it one of the keys to understanding the evolution of the Earth. Summary. Basalt, as an important volcanic rock, is widely distributed in the oceans and continents of the Earth. Its hardness and durability make it widely used in the construction and industrial sectors. At the same time, the formation process and distribution characteristics of basalt are of great significance to geological research. Through the study of basalt, we can gain a deeper understanding of the dynamic processes in the Earth's interior and the evolutionary history of the Earth's crust. Source: Wikipedia. Basalt, English, basalt, is a fine-grained, dense, black appearance igneous rock, density of about 2.83.3 g/cm3, formed by the eruption and condensation of mafic magma. The main component is sodium aluminosilicate or calcium aluminosilicate. The content of silica is about 45 to 52%, and also contains high iron oxide and magnesium oxide. Due to the large number of stomata produced during the eruption, sometimes the macropores are like almond-shaped structures, and later the middle is often filled with other minerals. Basalt magma has a small viscosity and is easy to flow, forming a large overburden and often forming a large lava platform, so it is widely distributed. Basalt can be divided into porphyry basalt, also known as alkaline basalt, and high alumina basalt according to its different compositions. According to its different structures, it can be divided into stomatal basalt, almond-shaped basalt, and basalt glass. According to its different filling minerals, it can be divided into olive basalt, perilla-pyroxene basalt, etc. Basalt that has not been weathered is a black or dark green dense rock, due to its condensation to produce hexagonal crystal joints. After being weathered to form a hexagonal column, weathering can form yellow-brown basalt. If further leached by rainwater, remove silica to form bauxite. Some basalt pores are also filled with minerals such as copper, cobalt, and sulfur. Article 24. Shale. Source: ChatGPT. Shale is a sedimentary rock formed by compacting and consolidating fine clay particles and tiny minerals, such as quartz, feldspar, etc. It takes its name from its typical bedding structure, where shale usually has a very good splitting process and can easily split into thin sections in a direction parallel to the sedimentary plane. This characteristic makes shale unique value in geological research, industrial applications, etc. 1. Composition and structure. Main ingredients. Clay deposits. The main components of page rock are clay deposits, such as alpine stone, montotite, and illite. Quartz and feldspar. Secondary components include quartz, feldspar, etc., which give shale a certain hardness and stability. Organic matter. Some shales, such as oil shale, contain large amounts of organic matter that can be properly treated to extract oil or natural gas. Structural characteristics. Shale has a very fine-grained structure, with a grain size of typically less than 0.063 mm. Its bedding structure is very pronounced, and thin layers arranged in parallel can often be seen, which were formed during the sedimentation of shale. 2. Formation process. The formation of the page rock involves a series of sedimentation and compression processes. Sedimentation. Shale forms in low-energy sedimentary environments such as lakes, deep ocean waters, river deltas, etc. In these environments, fine clay particles and organic matter are gradually deposited at the bottom of the water, forming thick argillaceous deposits. Compaction and consolidation. Over time, these sediments are gradually compacted by gravity under the sedimentary layer, the water is squeezed out, and the particles are squeezed against each other and consolidated into rock. Formation of bedding structure. During the sedimentation process, sediments are often deposited in the form of thin layers, which are very well preserved in shale, giving them the property of being prone to splitting. 3. Distribution and type. Global distribution. Shale is widely distributed in sedimentary basins around the world, especially in ancient marine and lacustrine sedimentary environments. Large quantities of shale deposits can be found in the sedimentary basins of many continents. Type. Depending on its composition and the environment in which it is formed, shale can be classified into different types. Black shale, rich in organic matter, usually formed in anoxic sedimentary environments, and is a potential source rock for oil and gas. Oil shale contains a higher content of organic matter, which can be used to extract oil and natural gas by heating. Siliceous shale, rich in quartz, it is generally harder than other types of shale and forms in a silicate-rich sedimentary environment. 4. Uses. Energy. Certain types of shale, such as oil shale and shale gas, are important energy resources. Shale gas is a type of natural gas that is stored in shale formations and can be extracted by hydraulic fracturing. Oil shale can be pyrolyzed to extract oil. Building materials. Shale is widely used in the production of cement and bricks. The fired shale bricks have good strength and durability. Land improvement. Rock can be used as a soil amendment, especially in improving the drainage and aeration of clay soils. 5 important examples. Marcellus Shale of the United States. This is one of the most important shale gas reservoirs in North America, located in the Appalachian Basin, and the extraction of shale gas has had a significant impact on the energy supply of the United States. Shale gas in China's Sichuan Basin. China's Sichuan Basin is also an important shale gas extraction area, which plays an important role in China's natural gas supply and energy structure optimization. Oil shale in Estonia. Estonia has abundant oil shale resources, which play an important role in the country's energy supply. 6. Geological significance. Shale is one of the key rocks for studying the Earth's sedimentary environment and paleoclimate. By analyzing the composition and structure of shale, geologists can infer the environmental conditions under which it was formed, such as water depth, sedimentation rate, and redox state. In addition, the organic material in shale also provides important clues for the study of paleontological and geological age. Summary. Shale is an extremely important sedimentary rock that has attracted attention due to its abundant resources and wide range of uses. Whether in energy extraction, building materials, or geological research, shale plays an irreplaceable role. By studying shale, we can not only better understand the history and evolution of the Earth, but also make efficient use of the energy resources it contains. Source: Wikipedia. Shale is a sedimentary rock with complex composition, but all have thin shale or thin layered bedding, mainly rocks formed by clay deposits under pressure and temperature, but mixed with quartz, mica, feldspar detritus, and other chemicals, according to the composition of its mixture, can be divided into calcareous shale, iron shale, Silicious shale, carbonaceous shale, black shale, oil shale. Among them, iron shale can become iron ore, oil shale can be used to refine oil, and black shale can be used as an indicator formation of oil. Article 25. Sedimentary rock. Source: ChatGPT. Sedimentary rocks are a type of rock formed by sedimentation, which is formed by rock cuttings, mineral detritus, organic matter, and other sediments at or near the surface through processes such as compaction, consolidation, and cementation. This type of rock is very widely distributed on the Earth's surface, occupies a large proportion of the rock layer on the land surface, and is widely present in sedimentary environments such as oceans, lakes, and rivers. 1. Formation process. The formation process of sedimentary rocks consists of three main stages: weathering and erosion, transport and sedimentation, and compaction and consolidation. Weathering and erosion. Weathering is the process by which rocks decompose and differentiate when the Earth's surface is exposed to the influence of the atmosphere, water, and living organisms. Erosion is the process by which weathered material is transported by natural forces such as currents, wind, and glaciers. Transport and sedimentation. Erosion material is transported by currents, winds, or glaciers to low-lying areas such as river deltas, lakes, oceans, and other sedimentary environments. When the transport capacity is weakened, these materials begin to be deposited, forming sedimentary layers. Compaction and consolidation. As the sedimentary layers continue to accumulate, the layers below are gradually compacted. Through physical and chemical processes, the voids between the sediment particles are gradually reduced, and finally the rocks are consolidated by cementation. 2 main types. Sedimentary rocks can be divided into 3 main categories based on their composition and formation process: clastic sedimentary rocks, chemical sedimentary rocks, and biosedimentary rocks. A. Clastic sedimentary rocks. Composition: composed of detritus and mineral particles from other rocks, such as sand, cement, clay, etc. Type: conglomerate, composed of gravel or pebbles larger than 2 mm in diameter, usually cemented by fine minerals or chemical precipitates between the particles. Sandstone, mainly composed of sand grains, it is commonly found in sedimentary environments such as rivers, deserts, beaches, etc. Mudstone, composed of very fine clay particles, deposited in lower energy environments such as lakes, deltas, etc. B. Chemical sedimentary rocks. Composition: rock formed by chemical substances deposited directly from solution. Type: limestone, composed mainly of calcium carbonate, calcite. It is usually formed in the marine environment and is a very important building material. Gypsum rock, it is formed by the accumulation of gypsum minerals and is often found in evaporation environments, such as dry lake basins. Rock salt, composed of sodium chloride, table salt, it is usually formed in salt lakes or in environments where seawater evaporates. See biosedimentary rocks. Composition: composed of the remains of living organisms, including the remains of plants, animals, or sediments resulting from biological activity. Type: coal, it is formed by the burial, compression, and coalification of plant residues under anoxic conditions, and is often seen in ancient wetland or swamp subsidence environments. Coral reef limestone, formed by the bones of corals and other marine organisms, it is one of the important carbonate rocks. 3. Distribution and characteristics. Global distribution: sedimentary rocks are widely distributed in sedimentary basins, oceanic continental shelves, river deltas, and lakes around the world. They cover a much larger area on the Earth's surface than igneous and metamorphic rocks. Bedding structure: a distinctive feature of sedimentary rocks is that they have distinct bedding, i.e., the sediments in the rock are usually arranged in parallel layers. These bedding can provide a historical record of the sedimentary environment and help geologists study past environmental changes. Fossil content: sedimentary rocks often contain fossils, which makes them an important source of information for paleontological and geological aging. 4 uses. Building materials. Many sedimentary rocks, such as limestone, sandstone, and mudstone, are widely used in the construction industry due to their strong and easy processing properties. Limestone and sandstone are often used in building stones, and mudstone can be used to make bricks and tiles, among other things. Energy resources. Coal and oil leaf rocks are important sedimentary rock energy resources. Coal is used as fuel, while leaf gas and leaf oil are important sources of energy in modern times. Water storage. Many sedimentary rocks have good porosity and permeability and are able to store groundwater, forming important aquifers. 5 Geological significance. Sedimentary rocks record the historical changes in the Earth's surface environment, including climate, sea level changes, biological evolution, etc. By studying the composition, structure, and fossils of sedimentary rocks, geologists are able to reconstruct ancient environments and understand the Earth's past. Summary. Sedimentary rocks are rocks formed by sedimentation and have a rich variety and wide distribution. They are not only recorders of changes in the Earth's environment, but also an important resource for human society. Through the study of sedimentary rocks, we can gain insight into the history and environmental evolution of the Earth, while making effective use of the abundant resources it provides. Source: Wikipedia. Sedimentary rocks, also known as aquamorphic rocks on planets with water cycles, are one of the 3 main rocks that make up the Earth's lithosphere, the other 2 being igneous and metamorphic rocks. Sedimentary rocks are rocks formed by the transport, sedimentation, and diagenesis of other rocks by the transport, sedimentation, and diagenesis of other rocks and some volcanic eruptions in places that are not too deep on the surface. On the Earth's surface, 70% of the rocks are composed of sedimentary rocks, but if you count the entire lithosphere from the Earth's surface to a depth of 16 kilometers, the sedimentary rocks account for only 5%. So the sedimentary rocks are the main rocks that make up the surface layer of the Earth. Sedimentary rocks mainly include limestone, sandstone, pagestone, limestone, etc. The deposits contained in the sedimentary rocks are extremely rich, accounting for 80% of the world's total mineral reserves. Sedimentary rocks are characterized by bedding, some of which contain fossils of animals and plants, so their geological age can be determined. Compared with igneous and metamorphic rocks, fossils in sedimentary rocks are less damaged and easier to preserve intact, so they are important research goals for archaeology. Article 26. Amber. Source: ChatGPT. Amber is an organic gemstone formed by the deposition and solidification of ancient resins over a long period of geological time. It is known for its beautiful colors, transparency, and well-preserved remains of ancient creatures such as insects, plants, etc. Amber is very popular in jewelry and ornaments, and is also an important material for scientific research, especially paleontology. 1. Composition and structure. Main ingredients. The main component of amber is resin, which contains about 80% hydrocarbons, and the rest is oxygen, hydrogen, sulfur, nitrogen, and other elements. Its chemical structure is a complex polymer composed of a variety of components such as resin acids, terpenes, and resinols. Color and transparency. Amber comes in a variety of colors, including yellow, orange, red, brown, green, and even blue. Its transparency depends on the amount of bubbles and impurities inside, ranging from completely transparent to opaque. 2. Formation process. The formation of amber is an extremely lengthy process, often taking millions of years. Resin secretion. Resin is a viscous liquid secreted by certain species of trees, especially pine and cypress, possibly to heal wounds or defend against insects. Resin deposition. After resin is buried on the surface or in the soil, it is gradually buried in the sediment, and the physical and chemical changes undergo by the action of heat and pressure to transform into a more stable substance. Resin curing. Over time, the volatile components in the resin gradually decrease, and the resin hardens and polymerizes to form a hard amber. Diagenesis: over a long geological period of time, the hardened resin undergoes further chemical changes and is eventually converted into amber. 3. Distribution and species. Global distribution: amber is mainly distributed on the Baltic Sea coast, Myanmar, Dominican Republic, Mexico, and other places. Among them, amber from the Baltic Sea region is the most famous and widely mined. Type: Baltic amber, varies in color from light yellow to dark brown and often contains a large number of bubbles and plant remains. Burmese amber, Burma amber, usually darker in color and contains the remains of many ancient insects and other creatures. Dominican amber, more vivid in color, high in transparency, common in blue and green variants. 4 uses. Jewelry and ornaments: amber is widely used to make jewelry such as necklaces, rings, bracelets, etc., due to its beautiful color and luster. Carved amber crafts are also very popular. Spices: in some cultures, amber powder is used as a spice or medicine. Scientific research: the remains of organisms preserved in amber provide paleontologists with important evidence to study ancient ecosystems and the evolution of organisms. With amber, scientists can study insects, plants, and even microorganisms millions of years ago. 5. Geological and historical significance. Geological time records: amber records ecosystems and climatic conditions millions of years ago. By studying the inclusions in amber, scientists can learn about the creatures and environment of ancient times. Historical and cultural value: amber has held an important place in cultures around the world since ancient times. It is considered an amulet, a medicine, or a religious object. In ancient China and the European Middle Ages, amber was believed to have magical powers, capable of warding off evil spirits and disasters. 6. Identification and protection. Identification: natural amber can be identified by its unique optical properties, color, internal inclusions, and other characteristics. Common fake amber includes plastic and recycled amber, which are usually lighter and have different textures. Protection: amber is soft and easy to be scratched and corroded, so avoid contact with strong acids, strong alkalis, and high temperatures. In addition, amber needs to be cleaned regularly to maintain its luster and beauty. Summary: amber is not only a beautiful gemstone, but also an important material for the study of ancient biological and geological history. Its formation process is long and complex, reflecting the unique charm of the natural world. Through the study and appreciation of amber, we can better understand the history of the earth and feel the wonder and mystery of nature. Source: Wikipedia. Amber is a fossilized resin of the pine family, which is transparent like crystal and agate in color. Opaque amber is also known as beeswax. Since the Neolithic period, its beauty has been celebrated. Amber can be used to make a variety of ornaments, and it is a precious stone that has been valued since ancient times. Amber has a hardness of 2.5 and can be carved with a knife or even a fingernail. With a relative density of 1.08, amber is the lightest known gemstone object and can be suspended in saturated concentrated brine. Amber can be divided into 5 grades, defined on the basis of its chemical composition, as it derives from a soft and sticky resin with a soft texture, and sometimes it contains animal and plant materials encapsulated in it. Amber is also known as resin in coal seams, and the term ambrite is specifically applied to greyish-yellow amber found in coal seams in New Zealand. Products made from rosin and insects that mimic the process of producing natural amber are called artificial amber. Article 27. Silicon-based. Source: ChatGPT. Silicon-based refers to chemical and biological systems based on the element silicon, usually associated with silicon-based life or silicon-based compounds. Silicon-based chemistry and silicon-based life are important areas of scientific research, especially in the search for extraterrestrial life and materials science. 1. Silicon-based chemistry. Silicon-based chemistry studies silicon-centric chemical reactions and compounds, similar to carbon-centric organic chemistry. Silicone's chemistry makes it important in many applications. Silicone compounds. Common silica-based compounds include silicates, silanes, e.g., silanes, silicones, silica gel, etc. These compounds are widely used in industry, materials science, and electronics. Silicate is the most abundant mineral in the Earth's crust and makes up many rock types such as granite, basalt, etc. Silicates have important applications in the construction, ceramics, and glass industries. Silica gel, it is a common hygroscopic agent and separation material, which is widely used in the chemical and pharmaceutical industries. Silanes are a class of silicon-centric compounds, similar to alkanes, e.g., methane, that have important applications in organosilicon chemistry. 2. Silicon-based life. Silicon-based life refers to life forms based on the element silicon, often compared to carbon-based life, such as organisms on Earth. The concept of silicon-based life is mainly used in scientific theories and science fiction. Theoretical research. Scientists study the possibility of silicon-based life based on the chemical similarities between silicon and carbon. Silicon can also form a variety of compounds, similar to carbon. Theoretically, silicon can form organic molecules similar to those found in carbon-based life, e.g., silane, silicate, etc., and thus may support the existence of silicon-based life. Challenges and limitations. Although silicon has some similar chemical properties to carbon, there are still challenges in the complexity and stability of silicon-based chemistry compared to carbon in practical applications. For example, silicon-silicon chemical bonds are less stable and silicon compounds are more reactive, limiting the possibilities of silicon-based life forms. Science fiction and culture. In science fiction novels and films, silicon-based life is often depicted as an extraterrestrial life form. For example, the classic science fiction work Star Trek touches on the concept of silicon-based life, exploring the existence of life that is different from that of life on Earth. 3. Application and research. Materials science. Silicon-based materials, such as silicon crystals, have important applications in the semiconductor industry. Silicon is a key material in the manufacture of integrated circuits and microelectronic devices, and is widely used in computers, communications, and electronics. Geology. Silicate minerals are the main components of the Earth's crust, and studying these minerals can help understand the structure and evolution of the Earth. Synthetic chemistry. Silicone chemistry is an important discipline that involves the synthesis of new silicon-based compounds, and has a wide range of applications in the fields of drugs, catalysts, coatings, etc. Summary. The silicon-based concept involves the application and research of silicon elements in chemistry and life sciences. From silicon-based chemistry to the theoretical discussion of silicon-based life, the unique properties and wide applications of silicon make it an important position in scientific research and technological development. Although silicon-based life has not yet been realized on Earth, its theoretical concept as an extraterrestrial life and the industrial application of silicon-based chemistry have shown the importance of silicon. Source: Baidu Encyclopedia. Silicon-based life is relative to carbon-based life. Carbon-based organisms refer to organisms that use carbon as the basis of organic matter. Among the amino acids that make up carbon-based organisms, it is carbon that connects the amino group and the carboxyl group, so it is called carbon-based organisms. All the organisms known on the Earth belong to carbon-based organisms. Some, however, do not see carbon as an essential core element of life. As a result, non-carbon-based life with silicon, boron, or phosphorus as core elements rather than carbon as the core elements has been proposed. Silicon-based life can also be defined as life made up of biomolecules with a silicon backbone. Article 28. Carbon-based. Source: ChatGPT. Carbon-based refers to chemical and biological systems based on the element carbon. Carbon-based chemistry is at the heart of organic chemistry, and carbon-based life is the basis for all known life forms on Earth. The unique chemical properties of carbon make it a key element in life and materials science. 1. Carbon-based chemistry. Carbon-based chemistry is the study of chemical reactions and compounds centered on carbon. The unique chemical properties of carbon allow it to form a variety of complex organic compounds and are the basis of organic chemistry. Organic compounds. Organic compounds are compounds that contain carbon and come in a wide variety of ways, including hydrocarbons, alcohols, ethers, ketones, acids, etc. They have a wide range of applications in nature and industry. Hydrocarbons, composed of carbon and hydrogen, such as alkanes, olefins, alkynes. Hydrocarbons are the main components of oil and gas. Alcohols, such as ethanol and methanol, are important solvents and chemical raw materials. Acids, such as acetic acid and citric acid, which play an important role in biology and industry. Chemical bonds of carbon. Carbon can form 4 stable covalent bonds, allowing it to form complex molecular structures with other atoms such as hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen. Single bonds, such as CH bonds in alkanes. Double key, such as C=C key in alkene. 3 key, such as CC key in alkyne. Allotropes, different allotropes of carbon, e.g., graphite, vatrite, graphene, have different physical and chemical properties. Graphite, used in pencils and batteries, with conductivity. Diamond, is the hardest substance in nature and is used for cutting tools and jewelry. Graphene, has extremely high electrical conductivity and strength, and is used in new materials and electronic devices. 2. Carbon-based life. Carbon-based life refers to life forms based on carbon compounds, which are the only known life forms on Earth. The chemical properties of carbon allow it to form complex organic molecules, which are the basis of life. The role of carbon. Biological macromolecules. Carbon-based organisms are made up of many complex organic molecules, including nucleic acids, DNA and RNA, proteins, sugars, and lipids. Nucleic acids, storage and transmission of genetic information. Proteins, perform most of the functions in living organisms, such as catalyzing chemical reactions, providing structural support, etc. Carbohydrates, provides energy and structural support. Lipids, make up cell membranes and store energy. Biochemical reactions. Carbon-based life relies on the chemical reactions of carbon to sustain life processes, such as metabolism, cell division, and growth. Adaptability of life. Carbon-based life is able to survive in a variety of environments, including extreme environments, such as deep-sea hydrothermal vents, polar ice, etc., demonstrating the chemical diversity and adaptability of carbon. 3. Carbon-based materials. Synthetic materials. Carbon-based materials are widely used in industry and technology, including synthetic polymers, such as plastics, rubber, used in the manufacture of various products. Carbon nanomaterials, such as carbon nanotubes, graphene, used in high-performance materials and electronic devices. Energy resources. Carbon-based compounds are the main energy resources, including oil, natural gas, and coal. 4. Carbon cycle. Carbon is recycled in nature through carbon cycle processes, including biocarbon cycle. Plants absorb carbon dioxide through photosynthesis and produce organic matter. Animals release carbon dioxide through the process of respiration and decomposition. Geological carbon cycle. Carbon circulates on the surface and inside of the Earth through volcanic activity, sedimentary processes, etc. Summary. The carbon-based concept deals with the key role of the element carbon in chemistry and life sciences. The chemical properties of carbon allow it to form complex organic compounds that are the basis of all known life forms on Earth. Carbon-based materials and carbon-based life demonstrate the diversity and adaptability of carbon. Whether in materials science, energy resources, or biology research, carbon-based systems play an important role. Source: Baidu Encyclopedia. Carbon-based life is an organism that uses carbon as the basis of organic matter. All living things on Earth are carbon-based, including humans, based on carbon and water. Because the proteins that make up carbon-based organisms, such as purines and pyrimidines, which are genetic materials, are hydrocarbon derivatives, they are called carbon-based organisms. Article 29. Sealed environments form fossils. Source: ChatGPT. The process of fossilization in a sealed environment is a part of fossilization that involves the transformation of biological remains into fossils under specific environmental conditions. A sealed environment is essential for fossil formation, as it prevents further decomposition and weathering of the remains, thus preserving their form and detail. Here's a detailed explanation of how a sealed environment can contribute to fossil formation. 1. Petrochemical process. Fossilization refers to the process by which biological remains are transformed into fossils on geological time scales. This process usually consists of the following stages. Buried. Biological remains are first covered in the natural environment by sediments, such as mud, sand, or volcanic ash. At this stage, the presence of a sealed environment helps to protect the remains from weathering or biodegradation. Compaction and consolidation. Over time, sediments are gradually compacted, forming sedimentary rock layers. The remains are compacted in the sediment, and the surrounding sediment hardens, forming rocks that protect the remains from external erosion. Mineralization. During compaction, minerals in the sediment, e.g., calcium carbonate, silicate, seep into the cellular structure of the remains, gradually replacing the original organic material and forming mineralized fossils. 2. The importance of sealing the environment. A sealed environment is critical to the success of the petrochemical process, as it effectively protects the remains from the following factors. Biodegradation. Many microorganisms and corrosive organisms in the body break down organic matter, and sealing the environment prevents these organisms from eroding the remains. Chemical weathering. Remains exposed to air and water are susceptible to chemical weathering such as oxidation, acid etching. A sealed environment reduces the occurrence of these chemical reactions. Mechanical erosion. Wind, flowing water, and other natural forces can destroy human remains. Sealing the environment helps maintain the structure of the remains by protecting them from these forces. 3. Typical sealed environment. Here are a few common sealing environments that contribute to the formation of fossilization. Marshland. A moist marshland environment provides good protection because peat and other sediments cover and protect the remains, while moist conditions slow the decomposition process. Lake bottom. The sediment at the bottom of the lake can cover biological remains, and the anoxic environment of the lake water helps slow decomposition. Dry deserts. In dry deserts, the remains may be quickly covered in sand, preventing decomposition and weathering. Glaciers and permafrost. The cold environment allows for the effective preservation of human remains, preventing the effects of bacterial and chemical weathering. The remains of ancient organisms preserved in the permafrost provide important information for scientific research. Ash. After a volcanic eruption, volcanic ash can quickly coat the remains, forming a sealing layer that protects it from the outside world. 4 types of fossils. Fossils formed in a sealed environment can be of a variety of types, including mineralized fossils, fossils formed through mineralization, usually including the preservation of mineral structures such as bones and shells. Fossil imprints. These include imprints left by biological activities, such as footprints, gnawing marks, etc. Fossil resins, such as amber, in which biological remains and detailed structures of plants are preserved. Fossilized remains. Intact organisms such as frozen mammoths or mummies have been preserved. 5. Summary. The sealed environment plays a key role in the fossil formation process. It is effective in protecting biological remains from biodegradation, chemical weathering, and mechanical erosion, thus providing an important fossil record for future geological research. By studying these fossils, scientists are able to learn about ancient organisms and environments, revealing the evolution of the Earth. Article 30. The Great Flood Destroy the Giants. Source: ChatGPT. The Great Flood, as an ancient cultural legend and myth, involves the extermination of giants or other creatures. This theme has been featured in mythology, religion, and folklore around the world and has far-reaching symbolism and historical context. 1. The universal legend of the Great Flood. Legends of the Great Flood are prevalent in many cultures, often describing a devastating flood that wiped out the vast majority of living things, leaving only a handful of survivors. These legends usually have the following characteristics. Punishment by gods or gods. The Great Flood is often seen as the punishment of gods or gods for humanity for their sins or excessive corruption. Survivors' stories. In the legends of the Great Flood, there are often a handful of survivors, usually chosen people or families, who survive and start civilization anew. Ship or ark. Many legends refer to a ship or ark that could carry survivors and animals to withstand floods. 2. The relationship between the flood and the giants. In some cultures and legends, the Great Flood wiped out not only humans but also giants or other supernatural beings. Here are some specific examples. Ancient Greece mythology. In ancient Greece mythology, the event of a great flood is mentioned, often associated with Deucalion and Pyrrha. Although this flood was mainly a punishment for humans, the giant races in ancient Greece mythology were also associated with this flood, especially in later literature and mythology, where the flood was often used as a symbol of the complete destruction of ancient giants. Norse mythology. In Norse mythology, the creation and destruction of the world involved a great flood. The primordial giant Ymir was wiped out in an icy flood, and its blood formed the oceans of the earth. This legend emphasizes the importance of the flood in the ancient worldview. Bible stories. In the Old Testament, the story of Noah's Ark describes a great flood initiated by God to destroy sin on earth. Despite being primarily aimed at humans, the legend mentions that some fallen angels or mythical creatures may have also been wiped out by the flood. Native American legends. In the legends of some Native American cultures, the Great Flood is also described as exterminating undesirable giants or other threatening creatures. For example, in the legends of some Indian tribes, floods were used by the gods as a means to rid the undesirable giants. 3. Symbolism. Symbolic cleanup. The Great Flood often symbolizes a radical cleanup that eliminates corruption, sin, or undesirable existence. The giants, as ancient, possibly evil creatures, were wiped out in the flood, reflecting a cultural renewal and purification of the past world. Cultural heritage. These flood legends are not just stories from ancient cultures, they also influenced later literary, artistic, and religious thought through oral traditions and written records. The symbolism of the flood continues to appear in modern culture as an echo of ancient mythology. 4. Archaeology and history. While the legend of the Great Flood is widespread in different cultures, the scientific community is cautious about its historical authenticity. Archaeologists and historians have tried to explain these legends by studying the geological and archaeological evidence of antiquity. For example, large-scale flood events in certain regions, such as the ancient flood in Mesopotamia, may have been the basis of the Great Flood legend in the collective memory of ancient peoples. Summary. The legend of the Great Flood is an important mythological and historical narrative on a global scale, involving the total destruction of humans and supernatural beings. The destruction of giants often symbolizes the cleansing of an ancient and corrupt existence. These legends not only reflect the beliefs and values of ancient cultures, but continue to have an impact in modern culture as well. Article 31. Indigenous to the Incas. Source: ChatGPT. Inca people are the indigenous people who lived in the Inca Empire, and they were a core part of the Inca civilization in South America. The Inca Empire was one of the largest empires in the pre-Columbian Americas, mainly located in modern-day Peru, Bolivia, Ecuador, and parts of Chile and Argentina. Here are some key points about the Incas. 1. Overview of the Inca Empire. Geographical extent. The core area of the Inca Empire was located in present-day central Peru, including the highlands of the Andes. Its territory also extended to parts of western South America, including modern-day Ecuador, Bolivia, northern Chile, and northwestern Argentina. Capital: the capital of the Inca Empire was Cusco, the political, religious, and cultural center of the empire. Language: the main language spoken by the Incas is Quechua, a widely spoken Indian language that is still spoken in some parts of South America today. 2. Social and political structure. Rulers: the supreme ruler of the Inca Empire was called the Inca Emperor, Sapa Inca, and was believed to be a descendant of the sun god and possessed supreme power. The Inca Emperor was the religious and political leader of the country. Administrative divisions: the Inca Empire divided its territory into administrative regions called suyu. Each sui was run by an official, possibly a close associate of the emperor. Social class: Inca society was divided into several classes, including royalty, nobility, clergy, artisans, and peasants. The social structure is tight, with clear duties and obligations. 3. Economy and agriculture. Agriculture: the Incas are known for their advanced agricultural techniques, including terraced farming, irrigation systems, and the diversity of crops. The crops they grow include corn, potatoes, alfalfa, and other crops. Resource management: the Inca Empire managed resources with great care, ensuring a stable supply through various measures. These include storing food, managing water resources, and controlling trade. 4. Construction and engineering. Machu Picchu, one of the famous sites of the Inca civilization, located in the Andes Mountains of Peru, it is one of the most important archaeological sites of the Inca Empire, known for its exquisite architecture and ingenious engineering. Road network: the Inca Empire established a vast network of roads, Inca roads, that allowed the various parts within the empire to communicate and transport effectively. The road system consists of thousands of kilometers of paved roads and bridges. Stone carving techniques: the Incas were skilled in stone carving and architecture, using precisely cut stone blocks without the use of mortar, but able to combine tightly together to build solid buildings. 5. Religion and culture. Sun god: the religious center of the Incas was the sun god Inti, who believed that the Inca emperor was a descendant of the sun god and had divine authority. The sun god occupies a central place in the Inca religion. Sacrificial rituals: the Incas performed various sacrificial rituals, including offering food, animals, and even humans to the gods to ensure the balance of the natural world and the blessings of the gods. Cultural achievements: the Inca civilization had a high level of technology in textiles, pottery, metalwork, etc. They produced fine fabrics and crafts, and many techniques and works of art are still studied and appreciated today. 6. The Spain conquest. Conquest process: in the 16th century, the Spain conquistador Francisco Pizarro and his army conquered the Inca Empire. The arrival of Spain had a profound impact on Inca civilization, leading to the collapse of the empire and the loss of a large number of Incas and culture. Consequences: the post-conquest Inca lands were colonized by Spain, the Inca social fabric was broken, and many Incas were forced to adopt Spain culture and religion. The Inca heritage has undergone many changes in the post-colonial period, but its influence and legacy are still present in today's South American culture. 7. Modern influences. Cultural heritage: the heritage of the Inca civilization is still visible in Peru and throughout the Andean region, including languages, customs, festivals, and celebrations. Inca architecture and technology have also had a significant impact on modern archaeology and history. Tourism: Inca sites such as Machu Picchu have become famous tourist destinations around the world, attracting thousands of tourists to visit and learn about the history and achievements of Inca culture. Summary: the Inca natives were the indigenous people of the Inca Empire, and they were known for their advanced agricultural techniques, superb architecture, and complex social structures. Although the Inca Empire collapsed after the Spain conquest, the legacy of Inca civilization still lives on in the culture of modern South America. The study of Inca culture and the preservation of heritage continue to play an important role on a global scale. Article 32. The time it takes for body tissues to be completely fossilized. Source: ChatGPT. The process of complete defossilization of body tissues is a complex and time-consuming geological process. Fossilization involves the transformation of biological remains into fossils on geological time scales and typically requires the following major steps. 1. Burying. Initial burial. Biological remains need to be quickly covered with sediments, e.g., mud, sand, volcanic ash, etc., after death. This prevents the remains from being weathered or biodegraded when exposed to the air. Timescale. This step can be completed in a few days to a few months, depending on environmental conditions and the type of sediment. 2. Compaction and consolidation. Sediment compaction. Over time, sediments covering biological remains gradually accumulate and compact, forming sedimentary rock layers. This process isolates the remains from the outside world. Time scale. The compaction and consolidation process typically takes thousands to millions of years. The compaction of the sediment depends on the rate at which the sediment is deposited and the geological conditions. 3. Mineralization. Mineralization. Mineralization is a critical step in fossilization, in which organic matter in remains is gradually replaced by minerals such as calcium carbonate, silicate. This process occurs in sedimentary rock formations and typically involves groundwater infiltration and chemical reactions. Time scale. Mineralization can take tens of thousands to millions of years. The rate of mineralization is influenced by factors such as geological conditions, mineral availability, and the chemistry of groundwater. 4. Complete fossilization. Complete fossilization. Biological remains may become completely fossilized after the above steps. This means that all the original organic material is replaced by minerals, leaving behind mineralized bones, shells, or other structures. Time scale. The time scale for complete fossilization is usually millions of years or more. It depends on the environmental conditions, the type of remains and the extent of mineralization. 5. Influencing factors. Environmental conditions. Factors such as temperature, pressure, chemical environment, and deposition rate can all affect the speed and effectiveness of fossilization. For example, cold environments, such as frozen layers, can help preserve remains, while humid tropical environments may cause remains to decay more quickly. Types of remains. The remains of different organisms are susceptible to fossilization differently. For example, bones and shells are more susceptible to fossilization due to their higher mineral content, while software organizations are more difficult to preserve and fossilize. Summary. The time frame for complete defossilization of body tissues is usually several million years old, which involves complex geological processes such as burial, compaction, consolidation, and mineralization. While some remains can begin to be fossilized in a relatively short period of time, complete fossilization usually requires a long geological process. Environmental conditions and the type of remains play an important role in the fossilization process. Source: BBC News. Every fossil is a small miracle. As Bill Bryson notes in his book A Short History of Nearly Everything, it is estimated that only 1 of a billion bones will be fossilized. According to this calculation, the population of about 320 million people in the United States today can leave just over 60 fossilized bones, just a quarter more than a quarter of a human skeleton. But that's just the probability of turning into a fossil. If these fossilized bones are assumed to be located anywhere in the 9.8 million square kilometers of the United States, the probability of finding them in the future is almost zero. The chances of becoming a fossil are so small that scientists estimate that less than 1 in 1,000 of all living things that have ever lived on Earth have become fossils. Among them, even fewer have been excavated. In this regard, humans have several advantages. We have hard bones and are relatively large in size. So, we have a much better chance of becoming a fossil than jellyfish and bugs, and there are ways you can increase the probability of success. Taphonomy, also known as fossil formation, is the study of burial, decay, and embalming, the entire process that an organism goes through after it dies before it eventually becomes a fossil. To answer the question of how living things become fossils, BBC Future asked some of the world's most important burial scientists. 1. Sink into the ground as soon as possible. Actually, it's mainly a problem of keeping the body in good condition after death long enough to be buried under the sediment, and then go through physical and chemical changes deep underground and eventually become a fossil, said Sue Beardmore, a bury biologist and collections assistant at the Oxford University Museum of Natural History. If you want to survive millions of years, you have to keep it from decaying for hours, days, quarters, decades, centuries, millennia, added Susan Kidwell, a professor at the University of Chicago. That is, one has to go through the initial transition from fossil activity to long-term burial, where the body is less likely to be excavated. There are countless reasons why fossil formation fails halfway through. Many occur 20 cm to 50 cm underground, in the soil layer or on the surface of the seabed. For example, carcasses must not be eaten or scattered by scavengers, exposed to the wind and sun for long periods of time, or burrowed or moved around by burrowing animals. When it comes to burying quickly, sometimes natural disasters can help, such as floods, which dump large amounts of sediment, and volcanic eruptions where mud and dust bury organisms. There is a theory that the formation process of dinosaur bone beds began with drought, which led to the death of dinosaurs. Then, the sediment from the flood buried the dinosaurs, Beardmore said. Of course, humans also have the advantage that human bodies are usually buried 6 feet underground, except for cremation. However, this alone is not enough. A little water is needed. The first step is obviously death, but the place of death is particular. Picking the perfect environment is key. Water is one of the things to consider. If the environment of death is very dry, the corpses will be found and destroyed by scavengers, and the bones will be slowly weathered on the ground. Most experts believe that corpses are to be buried quickly by sand and sediment, best in lakes, floodplains, rivers, or the seabed. The paleosettings in which fossils are excavated are often lake and river systems, Australia, said Caitlin Syme, a biologist at the University of Queensland in Brisbane. The key is the speed with which new sediments bury the corpses. She recommends the river from the mountains, as erosion brings a lot of sediment. Another option is a delta coast or floodplain, where sediment accumulates quickly as river water enters the ocean. Ideally, an anaerobic environment is also required, due to the very low oxygen content. Animals and microorganisms that decay and interfere with the carcass cannot survive. Kidwell advises to avoid places about 50 centimeters below the seabed. This is the deepest that shrimp, crabs, and bugs can dig into, and they may introduce oxygenated water into the sediment, which could cause the carcasses to decompose and shatter, she said. After death, it's best to have the body at a relatively low altitude, which becomes a sink for sediment. It's better to also have stagnant water such as ponds, lakes, estuaries, or oceans, so that there is a risk of creating an anaerobic environment, she said. In some rare cases, in a stable anaerobic environment, fossils can retain soft tissues such as skin, feathers, and internal organs. For example, many dinosaurs with fine feathers have been unearthed in China, and fossils of Archaeopteryx, the earliest bird, have been unearthed in Bavarian quarries. Once the fossil is below the biologically active layer, it stabilizes and continues to bury deeper as the sediment accumulates. At that point, the risk of destruction would have to be changed to a completely different geological time scale, the time of tectonic change, Kidwell said. At that time, the question was how long it would take for the sediment to turn into more durable rocks, and then how long it would be before geological activity would send the fossil to the site of erosion and expose it. 3. No coffins. Here's a tricky technical question. What exactly is a fossil, and what kind of fossil do you want your body to become? Generally speaking, about 50,000 years old is a subfossil, which is still largely composed of the original organization of living things. For example, extinct Pleistocene macrofauna found in caves are typical examples of the earth deer in South America, the cave bear in Europe, and the marsupial lion in Australia. However, if you want the body to become a fossil that will last for millions of years, you need minerals to seep into the bones and turn them into something harder. This process is called complete petrification, and it is usually a process that real fossils go through before they can be completed. It can survive for millions of years. So, you may have to give up the coffin. When mineral-rich water flows through, the bones are completely petrified at the fastest rate, allowing iron and calcium to penetrate into the bones. While it is possible for the coffin to keep the bones intact, it can affect the process. However, a coffin might also work. Mike Archer, a paleontologist at the University of New South Wales, suggests using cement coffins filled with sand, with hundreds of 5mm holes drilled into the sides, and then buried until there is groundwater flowing through the depths. If you want to be a classic fossilized skeleton, like the fossils in Canada's Dinosaur Provincial Park, then coarse-grained river sand is pretty good, Sam said, and all the soft tissue is destroyed, leaving a beautiful unjointed skeleton. When it comes to minerals, calcium ions that can penetrate calcite, a form of calcium carbonate, are particularly good. Calcium ions are able to coat the whole body and protect it in the long term, because if time is enough, there is a good chance that it will be buried deeper, Sam said. Deliberately infiltrating the corpse with the right minerals, such as calcite or gypsum, may speed up the process. It also promotes an increase in iron-rich hard minerals, as it can withstand long-term exposure to wind and sun. The silicates in the grains of sand are also a very durable mineral that can be incorporated into the selection. Archer also suggested that if you like beautiful blue-green bones and teeth, you can also add copper bars and nickel pellets to your burial. Avoid the edges of tectonic plates. If the corpse has been going through hundreds of thousands of years and minerals are starting to replace the bones, congratulations! It has managed to become a fossil. As the sediment above increases, it penetrates deeper and deeper into the Earth's crust. High temperatures and pressures further promote the formation of fossils. But it's not over yet. Fossils can also go deep into the Earth's crust and melt at high temperatures and pressures. Don't want that to happen? Avoid the edges of tectonic plates, where the crust may eventually be sucked below the surface. Iran is one such subduction zone, where the Eurasian plate is rising, pressing the Iran plate underneath. 5 Wait to be discovered. Now you need to think about the possibility of being discovered. If you hope that one day someone will happen to find your carefully preserved fossils, you'll need to find a place that is currently low enough sediment to bury you deep, but eventually the place will be pushed up again. In other words, you need to find a place where natural erosion will strip the surface and eventually bring you back to the surface. One of the good places could be the Eastern Mediterranean, Sam said. As Africa moves closer to Europe, the Eastern Mediterranean is becoming shallower. Other small inland oceans rich in sediment are also worth a try. The Dead Sea is also good, and the high salinity will have an antiseptic effect, she said. 6 Take a different path. We've already described the standard way to turn into a hard, durable fossil is to replace the bone with a stone. But there are also some ingenious approaches to consider. The first is amber. There are many well-preserved fossils found in this resin-made gemstone, such as the recently discovered birds, lizards, and the tails of feathered dinosaurs found in Myanmar. If you can find a sufficient amount of resin and then have amber all over your body, that's the best way to preserve both soft tissue and bone, Sam said, but obviously, it's very difficult for a large animal like a human. Can't find enough amber? Another option is La Brea, Los Angeles, to complete the asphalt pit for embalming saber-toothed tigers and mammoths. Eventually, though, the carcasses are likely to be disjointed, and the bones may be mixed with other animals. It can also be frozen in the mountains or glaciers, such as the Otzi the Iceman, discovered in the European Alps in 1991. Another way is natural mummification, where corpses are placed in cave systems to dry. There are a lot of corpses preserved in cave systems that get their calcium from groundwater. This calcium also forms stalactites and stalagmites. People love cave dwelling, so if there's a cave system in the future, you're probably going to use it. Finally, there is a way to preserve the body almost forever, but not in the form of fossils, but to launch it into space, or to leave it on the surface of a geologically inert celestial body without an atmosphere, such as the Moon. The vacuum environment of space is very favorable for the permanent embalming of corpses, Sem said. She also added that if you want to be found again in the distant future, you can also install a radio beacon system on the body. 7. Leave a little extra. If you were to be found millions of years from now, what would you want to leave behind? Plastic products. Anyone who wants to keep some fidget spinners, and other petroleum products that do not biodegrade, as well as inert metals such as alloys, gold, and rare metals found in mobile phones. These things are all able to be kept for the same amount of time. Glass is also durable and can withstand high temperatures and pressures. You can imagine finding the outline or shape of a smartphone, Sam said. Archer mentions that the solidity of the glass means you can chisel a small piece of glass into a cement coffin. Have fun. When someone finds your fossil, they will be able to see it. To guarantee 100% success, I would use diamond, Sam added, and it's very stable. You can also use a laser to carve a letter on a diamond that explains the entire process that goes through to turn it into a fossil. If you also want to plan your archaeological environment in advance, consider asphalt highways and skyscraper foundations, according to Sem. Before we built these things, we dug deep underground. In those places, the layout of the city will remain. Remember this, the words you write will fade away, and your actions will be forgotten. But what about your fossils? It could last forever. Article 33. 10 pounds of rice can be fatal. Source: ChatGPT. A tsunami is a wave of the oceans triggered by undersea earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, undersea landslides, or other geological activities, often causing massive damage and casualties. For tsunami wave heights, a wave height of 10 centimeters, about 4 inches, usually poses no lethal threat. However, the destructiveness of a tsunami is often closely related to wave height, wave speed, and topography of the affected area. Characteristics of a tsunami. Causes. Earthquakes. Undersea earthquakes are the most common tsunami trigger. Earthquake-induced crustal movements can cause sudden rise and fall of the seafloor, resulting in tsunamis. Volcanic eruptions. Volcanic eruptions or volcanic collapses can cause a tsunami, especially when large amounts of volcanic material suddenly fall into the ocean. Submarine landslides. Large-scale sliding of seafloor sediments can trigger tsunamis. Meteorite impacts. Large meteorites or asteroids hitting the ocean can also produce tsunamis. Wave height. Open sea. In open sea, tsunami waves may be only a few centimeters to a few meters high, but the wavelength is extremely long. In general, tsunami waves do not show high crests in the open sea, so they have less impact on ships. Nearshore area. When a tsunami wave approaches the shore, the height of the wave increases significantly due to the shallower water depth, which may turn into a large wave tens of meters high. The impact of the 10 centimeters tsunami. Open sea. In the open sea, a 10 centimeters high tsunami wave will not have a significant impact on the vessel, but fluctuations may be felt on smaller vessels. Nearshore zone. In nearshore zone, tsunami waves 10 centimeters high usually do not cause fatal injuries. However, if near the shoreline or if the wave height increases rapidly in a short period of time, it can cause some problems, such as minor flooding or shock, but it is usually not fatal to humans. The lethality of the tsunami. High waves. The lethality of a tsunami is often directly related to its wave height. Large-scale tsunami waves can reach a height of several meters to tens of meters, causing enormous damage and casualties in coastal areas. For example, the 2004 India Ocean tsunami had waves up to 30 meters, about 100 feet, in height, causing huge casualties and property damage. Wave speed. The wave speed of a tsunami is also important. Tsunami waves can reach speeds of up to 800 km per hour, about 500 miles, in the open sea, slowing down as they approach land, but the wave height increases dramatically. Topography. Coastal topography has a significant impact on the destructive nature of a tsunami. A narrow bay or estuary may amplify the wave height of a tsunami, leading to a larger impact. Prevention and response. Early warning systems. Modern tsunami warning systems can detect seismic activity and predict possible tsunamis, providing early warning to coastal residents. Evacuation plan. Understanding the local tsunami risk and developing and following an evacuation plan can reduce the damage caused by the tsunami. Safety measures. Evacuate quickly to high ground or a safe area away from the coastline after a tsunami warning is issued. Summary. Tsunami waves up to 10 centimeters tall are not usually fatal, but the destructiveness of a tsunami depends on several factors such as wave height, wave speed, and coastal topography. The casualties and property damage that can result from a tsunami occur mainly in areas with high wave heights close to shore. Understanding the causes of tsunamis, early warning systems and safety measures is essential to reduce the risk posed by tsunamis. Source: Yahoo News. Don't underestimate the power of the tsunami. When the tsunami hits, the devastation is overwhelming, often bringing a large number of casualties. The tsunami caused by the 311 earthquake in Japan, which took a lot of lives at that time. This year, 2019, Japan's Yamagata Prefecture, Niigata Prefecture 6.8 earthquake, the meteorological agency issued a 1-meter tsunami prediction was complained, but in fact, its power is more amazing than imagined. When you hear 1-meter tsunami, most people will imagine it as a 1-meter high wave, thinking that it is just a wave crashing on the body, but things are not so simple. Although 1 meter is not high, but the tsunami period usually exceeds 10 minutes, and the wavelength is also up to 100 kilometers, which is far from the wavelength of the waves in just a few seconds and 10 meters, that is, when the tsunami hits, it is actually a wall of seawater rushing over. The energy of the seawall is far beyond imagination. Just 1 meter high tsunami, the power is equivalent to 5 metric tons of impact force. The destructive power is quite amazing. Experts also give examples. 30 centimeters high tsunami, although the height is only about the ankle of an adult, but it is enough to make people unable to move, and 50 centimeters high can make a car and motorcycle float. Up to 70 centimeters can wash people away, so do not underestimate the power of 1 meter. Professor Toshiichi Kashimura, an expert on tsunami disaster prevention in Japan, also mentioned that tsunamis below 20 centimeters are barely within a safe range. As long as the height reaches 60 centimeters, the mortality rate will increase to 30%, up to 1 meter, and the death rate is 100%, and the tsunami caused by the 311 earthquake 8 years ago, there was a huge tsunami of more than 15 meters in some areas. The maximum height was 40.1 meters, causing heavy casualties. It is not difficult to imagine how frightening the situation was at that time. Conclusion: if stone is meat, is sand minced meat? Very special hypothesis.